All right, it is Monday, February 24th. It is 5:32. I will now call the Select Board meeting to order. If you can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. So I would just like to introduce our new interim town administrator, Ira, and sorry about the last name, Brzezinski. Thank you. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And then our first appointment, I should say, is the West Street Building Committee.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
All right, so before I begin, I just wanted to let you guys know that we have our OPM here and our architect here. So if you have any particular questions for them, they are here to answer them.
Okay.
And also, I want you to know that the building committee is behind me. So if they want to interject or say something in addition to what I am covering, they're more than welcome to.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so our committee has now completed the building conditions report and the schematic design of this project. And we are here to present you with some options regarding the renovation to see which option you would like to support before we go out to bid. So in your packet of stuff, you'll see that you have 3 options, A, B, and C. So I'll go through each option with you and let you know which one the committee recommends. So option A is the option the committee is suggesting for you to go forward with. It's a full scope, complete renovation of 22,000 square feet of the building. The cost includes, among other changes, abatement of the occupied spaces of the building with replacement windows, fire suppression, accessibility, ventilation, and electrical services upgrade. It's really the best case scenario for the municipal offices. However, the cost of construction alone is $11.5 million. And then when you add into that cost the soft costs, such as contingencies, which are different from the construction numbers, that total project budget goes up to $14.4 million. And just as an aside, on top of that number, the committee did discuss whether or not we wanted to abate the whole building to prep it so the upper part of the building, which we're not using, if we abate that and put in new windows now to prep it for future renovation, that would be an additional $1.2 million, which would be the third column in the paperwork that I gave you. But that is an option we investigated, but it's not a requirement for the municipal offices to move in at this point. So with that number, we asked the designer to go back and to do more minimal renovations. So what we call value engineering. That's option B. Option B is putting all the municipal offices and the COA into that 22,000 square feet, but with less renovation, using less expensive alternatives without sacrificing functionality. So for example, for option B, we'd be reducing the windows by 30%, reducing the number of interior partitions, and making it more of an open floor plan. We'd also sacrifice some of the finishes and reduce paving and site work, among other changes. So with those reductions, the construction budget came down to $9.9 million, and then the total project budgeted came to $12.6 million when you add in those soft costs and contingency. So by doing the value engineering, you reduce the total project budget by approximately $2 million. And then of course, if you want to abate the rest of the building, you have to add in the $1.2 million. So then the committee pushed back again onto the architect and asked to design something that would be even lower in cost. And that is option C. Option C, the committee does not recommend. However, I wanted to present it to you as a remote possibility. Option C drastically reduces the renovation to just town offices and only includes abatement for the areas of the COA, the gym, and the cafeteria. So that area would be prepped for future renovation. The total project budget of option C is 10.6 million. However, it's only 2 million less than option B, and I can assure you that we will not get a renovated COA in the next few years for $2 million. So hence, that's why we do not suggest option C. So we know these numbers seem large. However, remember that we still have the 5.6 million already slated for this project. So those numbers will be reduced by 5.6 million. And additionally, after talking to Chris, we do have 1.2 million in the municipal stabilization fund. So if we pull out $1 million from that, and then pull out perhaps $1 million from free cash, we can reduce those numbers. So for example, option A would come down to about 6.7 million that we'd be asking the town for. Option B would come down to a total ask of 4.9 million, and then option C would be 2.9 million. So I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but we needed to come back to you before we went out to bid to know what option you guys want to pursue.
Excuse me, Lynn, what was the free cash number?
I don't think it's been certified yet. Free cash, I think, is 2 million, and we would ask for probably $1 million of that. Is that true, Chris? Is free cash 2 million right now?
Hasn't been certified yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been certified, but that's a speculation.
But you would ask for $1 million of that too.
Well, yeah, because we don't want to use up all the free cash.
Absolutely not. Thank you.
And Lynn, can you just tell me for option A, so 5.6 million was already slated on town floor.
Mhm.
Then we've got 1.2 from the municipal stabilization and 1 million from free cash. So you said it would bring it down to asking the taxpayers
6.7 approximately.
Okay.
And of course, these numbers haven't gone out to bid yet. So
Yeah.
these numbers can change slightly. They can go lower, they can go a little higher. Hopefully they go lower. So it's 6.7 million if we just do the 22,000 square feet of the occupied space. If we do the unoccupied space abatement, you'd have to increase that number by 1.2 million, which would bring it up to 7.9.
Would, and I don't know if you can answer this or if this is a question for for Chris. Would the 6.7 million require tax override?
It would. And what we would propose as a committee is to do it in a special town meeting to keep the timeline going, because we are hamstrung by the annex being, the lease being up in December or perhaps shortly thereafter. So the quicker we get the towns to decide that they want to proceed, the quicker we can continue the project and stay on time.
So I guess my next question, and I don't know, Ira, if you can answer this. So say the select board decides that, option A is the one that we want to go with. And we say, okay, put it out for bid, but we still have to have the funds in order to do that. So we can't put it out to bid until we have the special town meeting to acquire the funds.
No, we still put it out to bid to
Okay.
see what comes in.
Okay.
And the way you draft the special town meeting warrant would be more or less
Then the
6.7 million.
Okay.
Right, so then I don't think the bids would come back in time for a special town meeting if it's before, how many weeks do you need for the bids?
6 weeks?
And they won't go out for another 4 weeks?
At least 6.
So
12 weeks now.
so we're 12 weeks out from getting the bids back. I mean, we're gonna still go out to bid regardless of the decision. But once we get those bids, we'll know with more certainty what the number actually is.
I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I'm trying to remember back when you guys first started doing this on what the options were for renovation versus building new. It seems like it's pretty comparable to building new right now. Is it not? Do you guys remember what the figure was for the building new?
Well, so building new, that was how many years ago? 2018, and now building new is about 1,000.
That's right, because it was forget exactly what the number was, but whatever the percentage was on top of what was bid in 2018, there's a certain percentage that went out
Oh,
per
yes,
square foot.
yes, but and now even since then, because it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years,
Yeah.
it is currently now. If we build a 22,000 square foot building new, it's 1,000 per square foot just for construction alone,
Okay, not with the soft cost.
not the soft costs or the contingencies. So, so at 1,000 per square foot, it would be extensively more.
Excuse me, Lynn.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, too, the new building they were talking about, building was smaller than what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and so the building back in 2018 was maybe 6,500 square feet building, which would be half of what we're getting now at 22,000 square feet.
What's the thought on having two proposals for town meeting? So people have a choice because I don't know, it might be something hard for a lot of people to swallow, $6 million override. And,
So you want to go
yeah, I mean,
two auctions at town meeting? So if the first one fails, go to the second one?
well, give people a decision to make and they can see, it's their money. Let them spend it the way they want. Hey, this is option A. If this is how we can cut costs with option B. It was an option C, but we really don't recommend that one. So,
I wouldn't bring option C
right.
to
So,
table unless you
have
had
two.
to.
Yeah, you roughly,
I mean, you have to do something because we're not going to have a building for municipal offices relatively
So we're-
soon.
And
it's,
this doesn't account for any grants, right? Sorry, Gwen.
Right, so, correct, so we do have letters out to the legislators right now, seeing if we can find some help for the project. And the grants would be above and beyond, right? So, like the grant that we're talking about with the, for the construction of the kitchen would be above and beyond this. It would be doing that in addition to what, it is, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't be. Would that be an option, Ira or Chris, giving them two options at town meeting? At town meeting, would that be an option, giving them two?
Whatever you want.
I like that idea. Because it puts the decision on them.
Personally, no.
What'd you say?
We do advise giving two options,
Oh,
and they said no.
Well, that gets slow for bids now too, what I'm hearing back here from,
Lynn, it would be difficult to practically go out and bid two different projects based on in either scenario.
but then it goes to town floor at the higher one and it comes back as a no vote. Then
We're 12 weeks out again for the second option with also the cost of a special town meeting, which is over $3,000.
Not to mention you're starting over and through that process again, so we're that much farther out. We're gonna lose the telephone building soon.
June,
what'd you say?
June 30th, I believe, is the end of the contract with the telephone company. At this time.
And we would be renovating, the sections first that those people would need to get into. So we could get them in and still renovate more of the building.
Is it June 30th, 2026?
No, it's June 30th, 2025.
I thought she extended it to December 20.
To my knowledge.
I thought it was December of,
Yeah, we asked them to extend it.
I thought it was December of 25.
There was a request to extend it.
Still doesn't give us enough time.
I know, it doesn't.
Yeah. If you go to town meeting and they turn down the 6 million, if they approve the 6 million, then it has to go to a vote. And it could fail at the ballot box.
So a lot of times when this happens for the override, they want to know what does that mean individual household wise.
Right,
Did
so,
you guys run those? Were you able to run those numbers yet?
no, not yet, because I wanted to see how you wanted to go. And then what we would do is probably go to the assessors and try to get an average
Okay.
of what that would mean in Granby and bring that to town meeting.
All that happens at town meeting and that they'll vote to put on the ballot to do an override.
What'd you say?
It's gonna go on the ballot to do an override. That's what they're gonna vote at town meeting. They're actually not gonna approve the money.
Right, they're gonna say, we think this should, we're okay with this, let's go
Yeah.
now to the ballot box. And then more people will come out and vote at the ballot box.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
who knows how it'll go.
Could pass at town meeting and fail at the ballot box too.
Okay.
That's a possibility as well.
Right, we haven't checked with Kathy yet, but we do have the town election in May. So if we have a special town meeting, I don't know how far out that needs to be for Kathy to put something on the ballot.
Right.
If we pass the town meeting, maybe we don't have to spend extra money to have a separate election either.
Right.
That's true, we could piggyback on them.
That's Steve.
Well, I do agree with the committee that option C is, I mean, sure, it's gonna save the most money up front, but then you're looking at the additional costs of the abatement, and the cost of construction never goes down. And moving forward on that, it's everything from material to labor to additional finishes around that we wouldn't finish up front.
Well, I mean, I'd say move it forward. I mean, and it's gonna be decided by the voters. It's gonna be decided by the residents, so move it forward. And town meeting, people can decide whether or not they wanna move it forward to the next step at that point. And
I would tend to agree with that, because these are large numbers, and we shouldn't be the ones to make this decision. It should be up to the taxpayers and the town as a whole if we want to get into this.
So we would just need to know from you, which option, A or B, do you want us to bid?
So Lynn, at the town meetings, when someone sees a warrant and then they don't agree to the warrant, they can amend the warrant. So I'll ask the other board members, I think we should go with option A, because if we need to amend it, we can amend it to option B. Does that sound? As far as the
You
money
can,
or the cost?
the
or-
cost, you could, yes,
Yeah.
you can amend the, it would depend
The
on how
amount.
much the amount is, right? It has to be,
Okay,
there's a judgment call there?
yeah. Just trying to figure out how to get both options to them, but say, like, this is the option that we recommend, but if this is too much, or it's gonna cost the individual person or household too much in taxes, then maybe we can go with option B.
I mean, I guess if,
So-
as select board, you could feel out what the town is saying and then create an amendment at that point from the select board. And then do the lower cost, see if that passes, and if that fails, then you go back up to the higher cost.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So it would still go back to original warrant.
Which if they don't want option B, they probably would vote down option A, which puts us in a
not necessarily.
bad.
Well, they might not want option B because they want the whole
They want the
shebang.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, makes sense. I would tend to put documents together for option A. And then, as Crystal says, see what the townspeople have to say and then go from there.
And find out how much it's gonna, the average percentage, it'll increase your taxes.
Well, hopefully we'll sell this building and that can defer some of that as well.
Right.
That's a good point, Kevin, too, because that takes, you have to put into the equation what this building would sell for.
And then it becomes taxable when a business takes it.
Can we get an appraisal on this?
I don't know if one was already, well, I'm sure the assessors
Is there
already
one
have it.
available?
Well, I mean, that's helpful information when.
Yeah.
Again, we're just, basically what at the town meeting at this point is whether or not we wanna go to option A, option B. That's good.
Yep.
They're gonna put out the bid. That's what we presented at town meeting, and they'll say whether or not yes or no we want to go forward.
Yep.
The ballot box.
Well, there's really two decisions too for you guys, option A or option B, and then option A with complete abatement of the building for future use. You know, how much are you gonna add on to that
Oh,
starting point?
I mean, in a few years' time, it could be another $1 million for abatement for the same cost at $1.2 million.
And just so you're aware,
Two.
with that abatement, that 1.2 million, that's including new windows, that would
Right.
finish, that building would be all set.
Ready to be built.
Hopefully, building maintenance could slowly but surely, maybe they can work on some of the rooms. The only thing that we'd have to work on at some point would probably be adding on to the sprinkler system before we could occupy, but.
So what, the windows would be included, I assume,
Yes,
because
would be
the
big.
windows are hot. and
Yeah.
Also, the caulking around it is hot.
Yep.
And that number, I was just speaking with a gentleman, then that could actually even come down a little, depending on whether it's actually painting windows or they put some of those filler panels in.
Mhm.
That's a lot of windows across the front of
Yeah,
us.
It's a lot of window, right?
Right.
They say that number could drop a couple 100,000 possibly with some of those filler panels.
By eliminating some of the windows.
Yes,
We still want natural light in the building, but
correct, but just.
depending on how rooms might be broken up, it might be feasible to eliminate some rooms. So,
I mean, I'm fine going with option A, with everything there, and kind of, then the whole project's done. It's gonna take a lot of information, I think, at town meeting to explain everything to everybody. Then with the option, what they could know too, if they, we didn't do he took away the $1.3 million from the, finishing the remainder of the building, what that would do to a tax override too, that may save some people some money, so. I guess so that there's some options going into, as Crystal said, where people in the town floor may say, well, how about we do this? And we save $2 million, and then it might seem feasible. But I just think an override's gonna be a tough sell right now.
So there's a few articles. The free cash, getting the money out of free cash, getting the money out of municipal building stabilization fund, and then approving the money. So there's at least 3 articles, correct?
Yes.
My understanding is the design team is here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where?
Right here.
Oh, okay. So, and my understanding is that you're gonna go out to bid and at the same time schedule a town meeting and then have an override if town meeting goes well. Have an override vote for debt exclusion. And you'll have the bids in before the vote is done. Have that all correct?
I think that's what they were trying to do, but they're 12 weeks out, right? So 6 weeks until you can put the bid out, and then 6 weeks for the bid.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
fastest it could have.
Okay,
Okay.
so my question is, does it make any sense to look at doing option D as a base bid with the additions to get to option A as add alternates? And put that all out together, so when the bids come back, you've got all the
Oh, okay, I
information
see what you're saying.
you know, that you would need, the voters would need. So you could start with what you.
You got a starting point, you
Yeah,
can add on if you want.
And if the voters go with a higher number, then there are add alternates that the respondents to the bid, you determine to work with.
Some of it, yes, is appropriate to work that way. Some of it is more wholesale where it's not an easy sort of like deal
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But there may be to your point, there may be an option kind of B.5,
Yeah.
if you will, where we do essentially take B, add things in it from A that can't easily be pulled out as a separate number, and then the pieces that can, which I would say are things along the lines of home partitions, folding partitions, quantity of windows, those kind of things are relatively easy to make a quantifiable amount. And then also the abatement of the unoccupied portion of the building, those are all things that are easily quantifiable, and that's what we want if we do alternates, because otherwise we're just gonna make the process almost impossible to get a clean number.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like the 1.2 or $1.3 million can be removed. Because that's at the end, and that's on all three proposals, so that can always be removed, right?
So that would be an add, is like what you're saying.
Right, that's kind of almost separate for each.
Yeah, so if you, in your packet, you should have this.
Yeah.
So this is it without, this number right here is without the additional abatement of the unoccupied space. That would be the ask before you take out the 5.6, before you take out the 1.2 municipal and 1 million free cash. So Ken, if everything goes favorable and the town says yes to this municipal stabilization fund money and yes to free cash, you're looking at 6.7 for option A and 4.9 for option B. Without the full abatement.
I do agree with you, Lynn, as far as the COA, 2 million, you're not gonna get a COA building for that, so. I think option C, as I think we're all in agreement, needs to, be nixed from this, because we need a COA.
So do we go along with option A to get numbers forward and then bring it to town meeting at the highest number? Or do we
I did.
go with Ira's recommendation of starting with option B and adding up?
I think,
I do like
I mean-
Iris.
yeah, I mean, the goal is to have it passed at the ballot box.
Absolutely.
You know, everything else is,
Which we know is still in question.
well, right, but everything else is just a task that needs to be completed to get it to that point.
Sure.
That's where it's gonna take place. I just think, I think option B is I think more feasible, where someone might be okay with $2 million less, but who knows? I think it's a tough time. I've heard a lot of people complaining and concerned about their property taxes right now, so.
Yeah. Yes,
Just to clarify, so I wasn't making a suggestion one way or the other about what to ask the voters
Right.
for. I was just suggesting in terms of the bidding process, to try to get as.
Yeah.
a larger
as
scope.
broad,
Yeah.
as much information as possible
Right.
in the bid results by using a base bid and with that alternates so then you don't have to go back out to bid, hopefully.
Right.
Thank you for re-clarifying that.
So with that said, option A would be, I think, the best one to put out there for bid. And then that way, the engineer and the OPM can figure out what is easily quantifiable that we could take off, should we need to. So it's just the way that they put it out to bid, but it's the same amount that we're asking for, right? So the maximum amount would be, or what we would be suggesting, if the board agrees, is option A.
Yeah.
And then when you put the bid out, you would have the base bid and then add whatever you can quantifiably take out as add-ons?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and it would still get us to option A?
Correct. And
Okay.
we have to work with the building committee to figure out what those items are and to prioritize.
Okay,
Because the way the bid laws work for public is you accept them in order.
okay,
So we would just need to prioritize those items so that we end up with the right outcome, but that would be generally the best practice for us as a way to, as you had said, Ira, to make sure that you have release valves essentially
Okay.
to get all the numbers in place and then see each of the incremental pieces of it and then be able to then back into the number, the budget you actually did.
yeah.
If the bids are 12 weeks out, that's not gonna make, not gonna make the town meeting. It's not gonna
Right,
make the
it's
ballot.
June, right?
I mean,
It won't make the
it's not
ballot.
gonna be during the election, if we did it.
Yeah, I don't have
When
a
it-
calendar.
Isn't it usually June?
I mean, next week.
The election is May.
So,
The election, and then town meeting comes after that.
Second week in May for town meeting. So let's see. So if we did a special town meeting, it would be with estimated numbers.
Which, Lynn, we do have another round of estimating during construction documents.
We do.
We do.
So the numbers will
They'll
be
be
more solid.
refined
Yeah.
from this point.
For when?
Will they be firm or just refined?
Refined.
The
but
bids are
they're
firm.
never gonna be firm until you actually bid.
So. 1, 2, 3.
Putting it out to bid keeps the process moving.
Yep.
Right,
10, 11, 12. So May 19th, 12th week. And that's if he puts it out to bid tomorrow.
It's kind of close.
so realistically, probably like May 26th, at least give him a week.
Realistically, if we gave him a
Realistic-
week, would that be enough time to get the bid documents together? You're on camera, so.
No, okay. So
I
that
mean,
puts us at June.
realistically, annual town, second half of the annual town meeting, we'd probably have numbers if that's the 10th of June.
Yes.
Okay,
But that's gonna push us.
but we still need to put the bid out.
We have to put the bids out. We have to also have a debt exclusion vote. So there's like a lot of things going on and we're in a time crunch.
Yeah.
Because of the annex.
Well, again, but like we said, if we have a special town meeting, and then Kathy can get that on the ballot box, we'll save some money that way if it's for the town elections.
Yeah, but I think what Glenn's saying is you want more
Definitive number.
definitive numbers at the ballot box.
Yeah, like you say, we do the plus or minus and say, look, we should have real numbers in a couple of weeks.
The only problem with the plus or minus, Kevin, is it always scares the
I know,
people.
I
You
know.
know, you say plus or minus, okay, it's $1 million. Okay, well, that's okay, but then it turns into 2 million
Yep.
or 2.5 million, and then everybody is up in arms about it. So that's a tough call too.
This was
Does this-
5.6.
Does this
Right.
board think a $7 million override is gonna pass?
I don't,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm asking
Yeah.
that to the point where what's the ultimate goal that we want to happen at the end?
Well, and you also have to think, what is the alternative?
Yeah.
If it doesn't pass, I mean, you have to be prepared to tell
Well,
the town
yeah.
meeting, if this doesn't pass, this is what's gonna happen.
Right.
And that would be from you.
right,
I mean, we're in a rock and a hard place.
yeah.
We are, and it's just,
Sadly, more we delay, increase in price.
Yep.
well, I think everybody understands that, but like I said, when it comes down to it, and, you know,
That's
I got an earful when everybody's taxes went up and they thought we jacked up the property taxes and it's just home values went up and, you know, that happens all the time, but I mean, that was a concern that people had and
Well, Glenn, like you said though, it's really have to break it down, like you guys said, break it down for each homeowner, so
Household,
they know
yeah.
where they
Yeah.
stand. And then, of course, adding on how important, like you said, we're in a rock and a hard place. We need to do something for this town and move forward. We have to decide what we have to do with the town and move forward.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we better off having a special town meeting when you have all the information prepared, and then just have not an election, but a vote at another time. I guess what I'm saying is we're asking for a lot of money. And at that point, I mean, you know, a lot of people are gonna say, no, it's not gonna pass. And if you're looking to kind of get this to pass, I think as much information we can supply to the voter beforehand, it's just better off. Because if people have doubts, then to just.
But to go to Lynn's point, I think we should put it out to bid because that's gonna give them more information, and have more definitive numbers.
Well, I agree, it's gotta go out to bid, I don't think there's a question about that, but I just think there's, you know, you have a $7 million, or $6.7 million, or $4.9 million. Now, $2 million is a big difference.
Yeah.
To people.
Per household, yeah. All right, so Lynn needs us to make a decision. Option A or option B is going out to bid. The amounts, because he can do the base bid and he can do the add-ons like we're asking. So if it comes down to it at town meeting, when we have more definitive numbers, we could say, well, we can take this out, we can take
Well,
this
that's,
out,
and
and we
that's,
can take this
and I would
out.
say that's probably the best way to have.
Well, we're not gonna have a more definitive, well, I guess we'll have a little bit more definitive numbers at town meeting, perhaps. It
Well,
depends on what town meeting is.
But that's my
Right.
question, again, is that all that information is gonna be at the time of at the town meeting or not?
Well, it depends on how quickly you want town meeting. If town meeting's gonna be in 4 weeks, we won't have any more definitive numbers than what you're seeing in front of you.
But June 10th, we might, depending.
If you wait to June 10th, we'll have more definitive numbers because our bids will be in, but we will be way off schedule
Okay.
for renovating that building. We will not be in, right now, we're pushing March of 2026. We're pushing that.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna delay us 3 more months, we're gonna delay that 3 more months.
Chris did want to talk too. Chris,
I just want to make a suggestion, okay? You're talking going with the lower price and doing ads to get up to A. I would go the opposite way. I would go with the A and then do deducts. That way you can schedule your debt exclusion vote at the higher amount. That's the maximum you're gonna raise. Depending upon, and you can sell it to the voters then, depending upon what comes in with the bids, the amount that we will actually have to raise will be less than 6.4 million. You're giving them an upper limit.
Yep.
By going a lower amount, you still don't know, it's gonna range between 6.4 and 4.6, depending upon what you add and don't add, okay? I'd rather go the highest. You give the people exactly the maximum amount they're gonna raise, and then do deducts.
I
That
thought,
way you can start planning your exclusion vote while you're waiting for the bids, because it's a 30-day notice to schedule an election. Okay? So if you wait until the town meeting, then you're gonna be 30 days out. You're talking July at the earliest to schedule your vote. That's just my suggestion. You know, it's up to the board to decide how they want to proceed. But I'd rather give the voters the maximum you're possibly gonna raise in taxes and hopefully get it down through a deduct process if that's necessary.
I thought that's what he was saying originally.
yeah.
I thought that's going option A, then taking some of the things off that we could take away from the project. That would lower the cost. But I agree, I mean, we gotta get it to town floor. I mean, that's the first part of it. And, you know, and at that point, they'll decide whether they wanna move it forward or not. So, I'm fine going with option A and looking at some of the things that, if need be, can be moved from option A. So, you know, if they're saying, well, option A is too much money, okay, we can take off this, and this. Now that gets us down to $5 million. Okay, people maybe say that's okay. And to your point too, Crystal, you know, it's helpful for the people to see what it's gonna cost, you know, per
Individual.
1,000, what the house is valued at and what it's gonna cost each individual at that point.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, again, this is just the point to get this to the ballot box.
Right.
And this is the engine that's gonna take us there.
So I would like to make a motion then. I will make a motion to accept option A as the number to move forward towards for bid documents on the West Street School, on the West Street building
And did
for
you,
future town offices.
so with that, sorry, go ahead. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No further.
So with that said, are we going for the 14,400? Or 14 million, sorry, 4,000 or 400,000, my gosh. Or are we adding the 1.276 to it? And we're going for the full scope?
I think we go for the full scope of the 15,676,000.
Yep.
And then, as I said, there's things that they can take off, one being the $1.2 million can be removed if need be. And there's some other things that might be too, so that's where we start, and when people start asking questions,
We
you
can
know,
wait.
there's options that can be provided.
Okay.
I agree.
Right, so. The agreement is the 15,676,000 option to move forward with on the bid.
Agreed.
All in favor? Great. And then as far as the special town meeting, you want to wait until you get the bids online and then we'll go from there when we're going to schedule it?
I would
I would-
suggest you schedule it
Now.
as soon as
Now.
you can.
Okay,
Yeah, because I wouldn't, they're not gonna be in regardless, so, by that time.
Right.
But a better estimate, I think, at the time, but not exact numbers.
when's our first part of annual?
May,
Well, I think.
is that the second? Yep, May 12th.
And then, Lynn, you already said our second one was June 10th,
16th,
June 16th?
is it the second week in June, or is it the second, do you know what the second annual, the date is for the second annual town meeting?
It's usually a month later.
So
So
June 9th.
it would be the second Monday in June.
So it's June,
Yeah.
it's June 9th.
And Chris said we need 30 days to,
30 days notice to schedule an election.
oh,
For a special town meeting, you only need 7
2 weeks.
or 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Post it
2 weeks there?
2.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Special town meeting's 2 weeks, yes.
All right. So we already have a select board meeting on the 10th and the 17th. Do you guys want to keep it on a Monday? Or does it matter the day?
The town meeting, special town meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep it on.
Well, I think we should look at anything else that we need to bring up at the special town meeting. So we should, I don't think we need to schedule it right now. We should see if there's anything else that we need to bring up.
You mean that's not
Related.
part of this?
Yeah.
Not related to this.
So this will generate a lot of questions, so just gotta be careful how much you put on that special town meeting.
Well, I think we only had, what was at our last town meeting, which was the leash law. And then, there was one other one.
Stormwater bylaw, which is,
Stormwater bylaw, thank you.
by June 30th.
I also just said something to town council regarding Ollie's law, which has to do with the kenneling licensing, and that has to be in place by the end of June.
So there are some things that got come up. So I guess I don't think we need to plan right now. We should look at everything that needs to be brought up and then come up with a date, so.
Okay.
I would imagine sometime in April.
Oh, I was being overzealous and I was thinking March 24th. But, okay, well, look, thank you, Lynn.
It could
Thank
be.
you.
Thank
That's
you.
what needs to be done.
Yeah, because we would still have to have an open hearing for that one. For the leash law,
Yep.
if we were to do that one.
Thank you, Lynn.
All right, next one, we are late, accountant and treasurer software. Thank you very much to the West Street Building Committee for all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm at a different seat tonight. Last time I sat over there, I had the good news of informing the board that our payroll and general ledger vendor was going out of business as of July 1. So we contacted the school. Mr. Nally, myself, and representatives from the school attended 2 demonstrations. The first one was for payroll, which was through ADP. And then the second one was through Vadar systems, okay? I'm gonna do the ADP one first. They have a very comprehensive piece of software. It does a lot of human resource pieces that could be automated, no longer requiring someone here to have to do it manually. They have a time record module. They'll do all the processing for W-2s, 1099s, all that information. The price, if we sign by February 26th, we get a promotional offer where for the first 3 years, we won't have to pay for 3 months for each of the first 3 years. So when you go and look at the prices, for years 1 through 3, the cost would be $36,000 per year and change. And then year 4 and 5, it would be $51,000 and change. Now, for the 5-year period, there will be no price increases. Where normally they would do usually 0% for the first 3 years and then do 1%, 1%. They can get everything in place as of July 1, 2025. If we act now. That's the problem that we have. And if we delay past February 26th, we will lose that free 12 months over the first 3 years of the contract. I don't know what's going on up there, but,
You know,
I've never heard that much noise here.
because usually there's nobody up there. So, we then met with Vadar. Vadar is a good system for accounting. They have, accounts payable, they have ledger, they have payroll interface, they do treasurer's receipt, cash book, they do Schedule A, balance sheets. You also have a report writer, so you can develop your own various type of reports you would want to do. They have automatic revenue going into the accounting system. We can implement where instead of everything coming to the treasurer and the accountant to be entered into the system, departments could enter their own revenue, which would cut down the amount of time required for the town accountant and the treasurer. They do have a payroll system. However, I have to be honest, they use Harper's payroll system as their payroll vendor. Steve and I had looked at Harper's, I want to say about 6, 7 years ago. We were ready to go with Harper's. The day before they were to go live, they pulled the plug and didn't do it. I have a bad taste in my mouth with Harper's, to be honest with you. As you can see under Vadar, they are on a state contract, ITS 75 through SHI International. And we can fund the system over a 6-year period of time for a level funding of 11,000 and change for first 6 years. And when we talk to them, they would be able to get us up and running as of July 1, 2025 also. It'll be tight, but they could do it.
Chris, what is that last column right next to where it says payment option 1, payment option 2? What is that column for?
An option.
Or are they just adding up all the
I think it's totals.
totals? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the total of the 6 years.
Okay. So it'd be $11,037.17 per year for
Right.
6 years.
Yes.
Okay.
You have
And this
which
is
column?
because, again, this is because our old system is no longer, it's antiquated, you said, right? And they're no longer,
They're no longer going to be supporting. They're
Okay.
going out of business as of July 1.
What's your recommendation? Yours.
My recommendation specifically for Vadar is yes, go with that system. Also with the ADP system in particular because they offer the human resources module. It's the one of the things that disappointed me in Harper's is that the time sheet module is additional cost. So this ADP is comprehensive. I was very impressed with their system.
now the total that was on the ADP, if that's annually, we would pay the 51,006.
On year 4 and 5.
Okay.
Year 1 through 3, we would end up paying the $36,076 per year, which is getting the 3 months free for the first 3 years, each of the first 3 years.
What is the difference in cost compared to what we have, what we're currently paying? I know technology increases.
Well-
I know software increases.
Well, number one is we pay for Braverman for his package, I pay $5,500 a year, and I believe, and that's mainly just support. And I believe the school pays about another $5,000 a year. And that's just for support because the payroll,
Yeah.
the system has been purchased a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
What is that? It's going away, right, or something?
Yeah,
Is it-
it's-
It's getting obsolete.
He's going out of business.
20 years ago.
Well, it basically is a DOS-based system. If you really want to know. And all he did was put a interface to make it work with Windows, but it's all DOS-based.
And where would these funds come from?
Well, that's the decision that the board's gonna have to make. I know we have some money in a leftover money in an article, like $20,000 for accounting software. So the first year could take care of that. Outside of that, it's just gonna have to come a cost of business at some point that we move forward and come into the 21st century for budgeting, payroll, human resource.
But there's a significant difference between the two, between ADT and Vadar,
Well, they're two different systems.
Yeah.
ADP is just payroll,
just payroll.
just payroll and human resource.
So it's both of them.
So if you wanted to compare, Harper's was payroll and ADP was payroll.
Right.
Which you don't recommend.
And Vadar's is also what the tax collector uses as well, right? So everything
Correct.
would be connected.
Correct.
There is a discount for that, as a matter of fact. $5,000 total, or for first year. And continuing $1,700 a year discount for having the collector's module.
So, Chris, the $20,000 would cover the Vadar system, but not the ADP. So
The
we still have
11.7.
to-
I'm saying the 11.7
Yep,
would be the accounts payable, receipts, general ledger package,
okay.
okay? And payroll and human resource would be done through ADP.
Right, but I'm just saying as far as the total, because you said there was about $20,000 in an account that we can use and move that over to pay for the software. But we still have $16,076 to pay for the ADP and
Yep.
another 11,717.
Yep.
So that would have to come from free
Has to
cash.
be put into a budget, have to be put into a budget
Budget.
and become an operating cost.
Okay. So then the ADP would come from would that be the treasurer's budget? Or does it matter at
doesn't
this
matter.
point,
Flip a
whether it's
coin.
the town
Flip a coin.
accountant or the treasurer's, right?
It's under the selectmen's budget overall with the
Okay.
town accountant. And
Okay.
just keep it there too. That's all.
Okay. And so would Vadar, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's just a call of the board. Do you want it under treasurer? You want it under accountant?
Well, the Vadar makes sense to have it under accounting, right? Because it's the accounting software. The ADP, who does the payroll?
We hope to.
Yeah, okay,
You know, I enter the timesheets and I process, and then I give it to Steve to write the checks and go forward from there.
and we're only allowed one DLTA grant per year, right?
Yes,
And we're already using it, so.
yes.
DLTA?
DLTA,
No. That,
But I think, isn't the time period closed for it?
no. There's opportunity there if you need help with
for software, because I think we're using it for the building commissioner, right? He put in for it.
Yeah.
that. And I think maybe you're not speaking about DLTA. The DLTA is the program through PVPC.
Right, which is funding for technical assistance.
Correct.
Okay, so our building commissioner already put in,
No, he put in through the
Okay.
Commonwealth Compact.
oh,
Community
okay.
Compact.
I thought he did the DLTA.
No, he did Community Compact.
Okay, we did use it for the open space, the last
That was DLTA.
two. Yeah,
That was DLTA.
Okay.
You
so there is possibility that we could go for a grant to help with the software.
Yes, but I can't say for sure if PVPC really has the expertise to, the hands-on expertise to help with financial accounting and that sort of thing. You talk about in terms of migrating the whole system and help with that?
No, just the software, purchasing the software, because the town clerk used it to purchase Vadar at the beginning, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a grant out there 2-3 years now.
Well, no, Community Compact's been around for a while. What happens is the collector for the FY '23 allocation used it to purchase her new tax module. Because she did it in '23, we couldn't apply in '24. We're now using '25 to do the permitting software for the building inspector.
Okay.
So that means we won't be able to apply in the '26 round, but we can apply in the '27 round.
Okay.
Are you referring to the IT grant through the
Yeah,
Community Compact?
yeah.
Okay, and so that window is,
That's
application
closed.
window is closed.
Yeah.
It closed last month. It'll be available again January.
I don't think we'd be able to apply, because if we get the grant this year, we can't apply next year. You can only apply every other year.
Well, it has to, you could technically apply year over year, however, one grant has to be closed out before the other one, before you're eligible for the second one, that usually.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the instructions say that if you received one this year, you're not eligible for another one, if you got one last year. But
All right. So what are the board members' thoughts?
yes, it's a chunk of money.
Yeah, and we need it.
Well, like I said, I think it comes down to it's the cost of doing business. Unfortunately, but it is a,
We've been very fortunate for the past 25,
20.
no, 30 years more for Braverman because the price has been so low.
yeah. Chris, who would you recommend? Are you recommending ADP?
Yes, yes, I would recommend ADP.
We'll let the board know, as I'm looking down here, I see the name of the sales rep, I guess. It's, John D'Angelo, someone I used to work with at Hamden County Sheriff's. We both moved on to different positions, I guess, here, so. Just an FYI, I mean, that wouldn't impact my decision or discussion, but just so the board realizes that.
He knows his product line, I can tell you that.
Well, the only thing, I know when he left, I left a little over a year and a half ago, and he was still there, so he must have left after that, shortly after that, but, well.
He answered all my questions.
That's a change, going from the sheriff's office to
Yes.
ADP.
So if we vote on these tonight, you'll need us to sign the contract so that you guys can get started on it, right?
Steve was able to sign the contract already, but we can pull out if we have to. If the board says no, okay, then we would just turn around and say, we're not going to EDP. But then, come July 1, you're gonna be stuck.
Yeah.
Because it's, like I said, talking with them, actually, we had like 3 conversations with them back and forth, and it's the time frame that we're having the issue with. To actually be live, you're gonna have to be running dual systems probably in June.
Yeah.
In June. So you're only talking about 3-4 months out to get everything converted to them. I think they said they would download or upload 7 years worth of history from our current files. And then, like I said, they're just there to help us all along.
And to put things in perspective too, when we were looking at Harper's 10 years ago, it took me probably around 2 or 3 months to extract all the data. I wrote all the queries to extract the historical data. So it takes quite some time to verify all that.
And they're gonna do it for you guys?
We're gonna work together, yes.
Okay. So is this gonna be part of, the town accountant and the treasurer's duties? Or part of your,
Plus
hours
the school,
already?
plus the school.
In the school?
Cool, too.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why we made sure that David Lukasevitz was involved, Todd Dorman, and Mary Hool was involved.
Okay. And they all like the system as well?
I think so.
They liked it. I think Mary's a little overwhelmed by it. Okay, I don't think she's been through conversions before. And it can be a very daunting process. And I think she's just overthinking it more than what she should be, to be honest with you.
But they'll be there to support her through it?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so the ADP was contingent on whether or not the board approved it, and what about the Vadar? That
We
is-
haven't signed anything
Okay.
with Veda. Actually, he called me today and I told him we were meeting with the board tonight. And I'd be able to let him know tomorrow whether or not the board wished to proceed with them or not.
And ADP's proposal expires tomorrow
The,
for
on
this,
February 26th, the free 12 months
for 12 months.
will expire.
So instead of 36,000, we'll
It'd
be paying the 51,
Be 51 for the 5 years, yes.
which is quite a bit of savings
Yes,
for 3 years.
yes. Plus, like I said, we got the 5-year 0% increase in the cost of their services.
Yeah, I think we have the town treasurer and the town accountant recommending it. We also have majority of the people at the school recommending it as far as who will get, it would use the service. So I think it's, it's a obviously a little more money than the other one. But it does more, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
it does the personnel HR piece of it as well.
Yep. And it also has the ability for us to be able to write additional reports too. They have like 300 canned reports that you can do for payroll type of reporting. And we can ask for and write additional reports as we need.
Okay, I will make a motion that we accept the ADP and Vadar systems for payroll and accounting for the town of Granby.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I didn't see anything in here we needed to sign, Chris, right?
No,
For Vadar
nothing,
either?
nothing there,
Okay.
correct. Before I walk away to, referencing the prior conversation we were having, the lease for the annex actually expires June 30th. We were trying to negotiate an extension to December 31st,
Right,
okay? Maybe going to March 31st,
that was
If we-
discussion.
if we could push it. However, remember she said she wanted the driveway paved.
Yes.
Yes,
We did check with David. The price to pave the driveway is $37,500.
3,000,
so,
$37,500
37,000.
to pave it. And that's with David doing the work, okay?
that's the cost of tonnage for the asphalt.
And his labor and stuff. It'd be more if we contracted out.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give the board that information, just so you have something to go by, and really a contract extension should be being negotiated with the landowner at this point in time. I just wanted to give the board that
No.
information.
Thank you.
Thank you, because if we can't extend that contract and come to an agreement, then we need to look at other options.
Well, the only other place you can put them is library, the old library.
Yeah.
Top floor.
Which would be a huge move over.
Yep. It'd be very costly to move them.
Yeah.
And then, if you do go forward with the municipal offices at West Street, you'll have to move them again. So,
Okay. Kathy has our contact information and everything, right?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's just something we gotta look at and look at the expense. What? Because there's an expense to moving.
Yeah,
obviously.
there is.
There's an inconvenience to moving as well. But also, we're talking about paying rent for another 6 to 9 months, plus an additional $37,500 on top of that, so that's.
Mhm.
We don't have $37,000 in the budget anymore to
Two.
do
Well-
that, so.
Well, you still have money left over in that cemetery paving account. So if you wanted to, you, at a town meeting, you could transfer the excess funds in that account to another special article to do the paving. So it would be zero additional dollars. Let's put it that way. Okay? I'm just saying that's what you can do. I'm not saying that it's gonna be a zero cost. No, there will be a cost, but no additional funds will have to be appropriate.
Can you refresh our memories as far as the number that we saved on the cemetery? I recall.
We had put in, I believe, for 160,000,
We did
and I think we did it for,
70?
yeah, something like that.
So
That's what I recall.
Yeah, so, no, we actually did it for 59.
Okay.
Okay, but then we also transferred an additional 10,000 to the library paving project because the prices came in higher than what we anticipated.
Correct.
That was like another 10,000 there, so you still have money left in there, enough to cover the paving cost if you so desire. Well, like I said, it would just be, you go to town meeting, you would ask for an appropriation for 37.5. The funding source would be the old cemetery paving article.
Right. So just move back.
Yep, okay,
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
before you entertain your next appointment, I'm gonna request the board have me on your agenda for the next meeting. I'm issuing a $275,000 5-year serial note for the purchase of the dump truck for the highway department. And the rate negotiated today was
7.5.
no, 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
4.5%. Thank you. Senior moment. Also, I want to thank the building committee because I've served on many building committees in the past 30 years, and I appreciate the work they've done, and I think they deserve kudos.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we will put you on, our next meeting will be March 10th.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you get to go home now.
That's different. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. All right, next appointment is Chief O'Grady for facial recognition policy.
Evening.
Good evening.
So this is something all new. The Mass Chiefs came out with a facial recognition policy a couple years ago, and I never adopted it because we really didn't need it, but now the district attorney's office is really suggesting these policies getting put in place because the times are changing and facial recognition is becoming more expanded, the use of it. We would not buy any software for this. This would be through the Fusion Center. And the policy is very specific on what we have to do, saying that we actually have to fill out a form to the district attorney's office and they choose whether or not that information is going to be sent to the Fusion Center to see if it matches up. There's also reporting that needs to be addressed, and all of that is in this policy.
So we're just using basically a policy from another.
The Mass Chiefs have
Mass Chief
have put this out, yes.
So it's-
It has been vetted through their attorney, and so again, this is, like I said, we didn't have any options to use it, and now the district attorney's office is asking us to be prepared to use it if necessary. I don't think this is going to be accepted for shopliftings and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, again, I think it's gonna be our more serious crimes, and
Okay.
but they vet it, so.
All right.
And it sounds like, from reading it, it's a process too. It's not easy.
Correct,
So,
correct. It's not just.
hey, I want to know who this person
Exactly,
is.
exactly.
Let's
Everything's
do it.
documented. We have to report quarterly on what we would run through the facial recognition. So there's no pattern of any improprieties.
Yep.
We're good. I will make a motion to accept the facial recognition program, policy, thank you, for the Granby Police Department and Chief O'Grady.
And his designee, right?
And
That's what it said in
his
there.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another part of technology.
All right, next is 6:15. Bill Shaheen, is he here? I don't think so. I guess for time's sakes, we'll just skip over that, and then if he shows up, we can do it.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to look at that even if he doesn't come, so. Next is Ray Morissette and Jay Joyce for Winehouse.
Jay Joyce, 18 Jennifer Drive, in Granby, Mass. Can you hear me okay with this mask on and stuff?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay. I ran out of ink on my printer, so I couldn't make a whole bunch of these things here, so I'll work with that. I'm not gonna be presenting anything new tonight, because we've already given all this information to the building commissioner and to the select board, but it hasn't been acted on. And Ray asked me to come out and do this. And all this information is available in the select board office or the building commissioner's office. And we've got most of our information from the public records request and from the ABC, in Massachusetts, ABC, Freedom of Information request. I want it to be clear, and so do the other people behind me, nobody over there is against businesses. We love legal businesses. We do not like illegal businesses. And that is an illegal business, which I will explain. If they want to relocate all their business activities to a general business area, they can grow all the grapes they want on that property, but they can't conduct business activities there. That's against not only general bylaws, but it's also against the, what do you call it, cease and desist order that was put out by the building commissioner that has not been enforced. We don't understand why. And also the Selectboard Liquor Authority, which is the Selectboard, have failed to enforce Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138, Section 15. Because you are the people that are actually in charge of the liquor licenses and verifying that everything on the permit is correct and everything on the permit are not correct. Because we now have copies of everything from ABCC. And we know you've got the special town council at $250 an hour to look over this stuff. The Winehouse, from all the records we got and the questions we asked, they do not even have a building code certificate, what means the building can't be open. It says, a Massachusetts Building Code Certificate of Occupancy refers to a document issued by a local building department in Massachusetts that conforms a building, complies with state building code 780 CMR and is legally permitted to be occupied, essentially signifying that the structure has passed all necessary inspections and meets the required standards for its intended use. It is required for new construction, major renovations, or changes in the occupancy of the building. Now that building, if you look at the deed on that building, it specifically states that that was a garage slash storage area. That's got nothing to do with anything else. On the deed, it also states that it says, subject to, and together with the benefit of a variance slash special permit recorded in book 10386, page 350, allowing a garage slash storage building exceeding 1,000 feet in the area provided that no business, service, or industry is conducted therefrom or therein. So they're in violation of their own deed, besides the town's bylaws. And they should have caught that when they purchased it on the deed. Either the one who purchased it or his attorney that he used it. It's clear, that building is for a garage and storage building only. It's got nothing to do with commercial activities. And you can get a true copy of that from the town of Granby, you can get it from the deeds office and everything else. And that's the wine house occupies the same building as the special permit defines. Exactly the same building. Okay, also the Mass Real Estate Disclosure, Massachusetts General Law 93A, and there's a Latin word which I can't pronounce, it's CAVEATEMPTR. Basically, it's let the buyer beware. The phrase let the buyer beware is a legal doctrine in the state of Massachusetts, calling for that Latin word, which I can't spell or can't pronounce. It means the buyers are responsible for inspecting a property before buying it, and that they have limited recourse if the property does not meet their expectations. So all that is on the buyer when they go in. That's Massachusetts general law. As far as his farming goes, because he can't have a business, he is in violation of Massachusetts General Law 48, Section 3. He's in violation of Massachusetts General Law Chapter 111, Section 125A. He's in violation of Massachusetts General Law Chapter 128, Section 1A, and Massachusetts General Law 243, Section 6. To date, if you go up to the assessor's office, there's no property on that land classified as farming. It's all single resident family, with the exception of his latest change. He's now had it classified, and I don't know how he did it, because the assessor's records say it's residential single area. He has it now classified as a nightclub / bar. Don't know how that got in there, but it's there. We have an appointment to meet with the assessors and find out how that got to be there. Also, the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission did an inspection on the 8th of January. And their inspection concluded that, where's that? I give it, oh yeah, there it is over there. Okay. It has a complaint report ID 2024-000-265-CM-ENF. What I'm going to do is I'm going to email this to, I know Kathy's up here, I'll email it to upstairs.
Okay.
Because I say I couldn't print anymore because I ran out of ink.
You can get Ira's email.
Excuse me?
You can get Ira's email.
Oh, okay, whoever I was going to send it, I forget, who's that upstairs that works with Kathy?
Oh, Dale.
Dale. I got her email.
Okay.
I think
All
I
right.
they can do that. The attached ABC report that had investigators, and I have to spell his name because I can't pronounce it, KUJAWSKI and Fleming addressed the complaint on January the 1st of 2025. The investigators entered the premise unannounced and observed no beer or wine from any source other than the wine house. We spoke with the owner, James, who was informed of the complaints. he was able to show us beer which is produced by the Drunken Rabbit through a tenant brewer contract, but is labeled and sold under the Winehouse brand name. There is no sign of Drunken Rabbit beer or labels on the premises. James also had a documentation proving that he purchases his grapes, not wine, from California. He has invoices on these premises for the grapes. He displays a map on the region in his building to show where they come from. Massachusetts general law for farming is very clear. A minimum of 25% of the product being used on that land has to come from that land. He's not using anything come from that land. The grapes are coming from California. The beer is being brewed over the Drunken Rabbit and then sent over to him with his label on it. Also, you gotta have a minimum of 5 acres to have a farm. As I said, the assessor's office doesn't show any acreage for a farm at all. Okay, and I say there's no evidence that the wine house is producing any farm products for their wine and or beer consumption and or sales. It is not a farm. And this is from Massachusetts ABCC. It's not anybody who's going over there. They're the ones writing out the report where everything's coming from. It's a bar. That's what it is. He's not brewing any beer, and he's not making any wine from his own production. It does say he's bottling it, if you look at a bottle, and believe it or not, he bought it in September of 2020, and he's been bottling it and selling since 2020. I don't know how you grow grapes in 3 months, particularly in the winter. And we have all that evidence if you want, but I know that upstairs, the building zoning has copies of all that stuff. He's also selling other retail products. You can't sell retail products in a residential area. He's also selling beer, wine by the bottle. ABC told us he can't sell. He's got a pouring license. He doesn't have, like if you go into a bar anywhere, can you buy a bottle of beer or a bottle of liquor and walk out? The answer is no.
Some states you can.
Not in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Not in Massachusetts you can't, because they have a pouring license only. You've got to have the other licenses if you want to sell. He's also wholesaling his product to a number of different areas. Was Atkins Farm, there's one called The Grape, and there's a liquor store right down here in 202. He's not authorized to even do that. And Ray wanted me to let you know that since one of the big things, he has not even been issued his licenses yet. They're sitting upstairs in Kathy Leonard's drawer because he has not met the special requirements that your board gave him on 16 December. He has inspection he needs to comply with. So our question is, if he doesn't have issued his license, why is he open? According to the attorney we talked to, the town is at risk of lawsuits. If something happens over there, whether it's a DUI, an injury, or anything like that, the lawyer can drag the town right on in because the town has not issued him the proper licenses to conduct his business. The town is withholding his licenses. So, when I was on the select board, I heard many a time when Chris Martin would say, well, we can't do that because it's a liability to the town and we'd have to address it another way. This is a liability to the town. And the town residents do not deserve this liability, particularly when you hear all the time on how little the town has in funds. We can't afford a major lawsuit. Ray has filed a complaint with the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. The complaint is for government corruption because the people in management and the offices here are not following Massachusetts general law. And since the people concerned are all town of Granby management or elected officials. Now, what has he got here? The Massachusetts Ethics Commission is now involved, investigating everybody to see what's going on. I don't know if you guys been notified or not, but he's gotten calls and I've gotten one call myself. They are investigating. So the biggest thing is, we don't know why he's allowed open when he has no licenses. One of the big things, if you went into any liquor store, or you go into Cumberland Farm, you go anywhere, the licenses are all displayed on the wall. They have to by law in Massachusetts. If he hasn't been issued any licenses, how can he display them on the wall? It's illegal. Completely illegal. That place needs to be shut down. If he's not gonna comply with the law, he's done. Like I said, we have no problem with him growing his grapes there, and if he wants to move his commercial operations to general business, that's fine. Yeah, that works. But you cannot do business work in a residential area. How would you like to leave your house in the morning and come back and there's a bar, somebody bought a house right next to you? Or, since you're not putting any restrictions really on any of the licenses you're issuing, it could be an adult entertainment center. Because it's just a general license you're giving them. You don't put no restrictions on anything. We've talked about that before, but there are none. And you're putting other departments at risk. The Board of Health is a big example. They follow that common vic license. And if anything goes wrong, they're gonna blame the select board, because the select board, according to what they say, the select board already has approved their common vic license. I understand back in September when the Board of Health did their inspections and stuff like that, the common vic license was in force for 2024. But it hasn't been enforced since 31 December of 2024. It died on 1 January 2025. So they shouldn't even be doing anything with food or anything else over there. Again, they're putting the town at risk. Do you have any questions for me or anything like that?
I don't. I know the information that you have emailed, Kathy has sent to our special town council. And we really can't say much about that, Jay. All we can say is that we are exploring all of our options.
Okay,
So,
like I said.
We hear you. We understand that the people are upset. We understand both sides. And we are exploring all options. And that's really all we can say at this
From
time.
the attorneys we talked to, you don't have any options. It's not negotiable. These are Massachusetts general law that he and the select board are not in compliance with. So if a lawsuit comes, it can come against both. We don't want to see this town hurt. Can't afford to be hurt. So why are we taking these chances? I don't understand. When I was on the select board, we never took these chances. Glenn will tell you that. If I had something to say, I'd say it.
Well, I think to Crystal's point too, and again, we've sent that to special town council,
Mm-hmm.
and we're waiting.
Damien's told me that he understands it goes to special town council, but he doesn't have any information because it only goes to the select board. He doesn't get copied on the stuff of special town council. So the owner of the wine house, Jim Tromke, will get information from his attorney, and you're getting the information from the town's attorney, but the town residents are not getting any information. We've been told if we want information, we can get a lawyer real inexpensive and he can get in there. We don't want to hurt the town. We love this town. But we have a set of rules. And when you got the chairman of the planning board violating all the major rules, that's not a good practice at all.
And I think Jay, as Crystal said, we reached out to, the information is with our special town council. And like most places, we'll act on what the special town council advises us to do.
And you don't have any idea,
That's the lawyer.
you don't have any idea when it's gonna come to a head?
We were hoping to meet with them this week, but I guess, I don't know if,
We do have another meeting on Thursday in which the special town council will be here, but it's not for that matter.
Yeah, it's probably for your gravel pit.
Yes.
Yeah.
but it was asked of Kathy to reach out to them, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna see, Ray and the other people there are gonna keep sending the stuff to Damien, which we understand his last day is 7 March. So it'll have to go into, the select board office and they can do what they want with it. Probably put it in a drawer and let it sit there like the last inspector that didn't do anything with it, because we didn't have one.
So, Jay, when the information comes to us, we do, like Glenn said, send it to special town council, but due to the sensitivity of the matter and possible litigation on whether it's with the owner or whether it's with the townspeople, that's why we can't let you know what's gonna happen, because then
Well, okay.
we would be telling.
That's perfectly fine, but just to let you know, if the town doesn't do anything about this, and I know it's budget time, and he gets $250 an hour, you better put a lot of money in there, because you're gonna get another suit from the people over there. And that's not a threat, it's just a promise. The people have talked it over. So, when you plan your budget out, I would plan it accordingly. You can always put the money into something else, like that driveway for the annex, which I heard about. I'll just get off subject quick. Why don't you just buy the place? And then it's $335,000. You buy that place, and when you move the people to West Street, because I don't know where you're gonna get the money from that to make that move, then you sell it when you sell this place. Why put another $33,000 into there, and then you're gonna pay another $335,000 if you want it?
I don't think the board discussed to put $33,000 into it, so.
No, but you know what I'm just saying. That was said tonight and I never heard about it. Because the only way I see stuff, anything, is through Kite and G-Cam. Because this is only the second time I've been out. As you know, I don't come out because I can't. No other questions for me? I'll get out of here.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep. But I'm really concerned about the liability for the town. I really am.
And we are as well.
We understand that. You spent your time here addressing a lot of issues, and we understand that. Like I said, and Chris was said that, we act on what our town council, special town council wants us to do.
And I just hope no lawsuit comes out of that.
We're not lawyers up here.
No, I'm
That's
just
why,
saying.
that's why we have someone representing us.
I know. I've sat up there with you before.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. Take
Yep.
care, Jay.
No problem.
All right, next up is John Edwards for Dufresne Forestry Cutting.
Thank the board for listening to Jay for me. Still have on our time dealing with the neighbors and so on. Been really good about it. And we're all in favor of what we're doing, just so you know.
Thank you.
Ray.
Thank you, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
Good evening. Sorry, my last appointment here was, I was tardy. I had a family issue that I needed to resolve.
No worries. I'm glad you were able to make it today. All right, so we did phase 1.
We did phase 1.
Okay.
I'd like to continue with phase 2, if that was acceptable to you folks.
So can you just clarify what phase 2 is? Because I don't think Dave was on when we started the phase 1, phase 2.
Sure, I understand. What I have here to guide you over this.
I was hoping it was in here, but I don't think it's in here. Oh,
Copy of my
perfect.
agreement with the town. And here's a copy of the map of the framework. And in the dark line that you see, dark outline, was what was done the first time.
The blue?
Which was
Blue,
on the
yes.
Kendall Street side.
Yeah, exactly. And so the orange is more or less the remainder of the park that's forested. The park has a forested section and a open section, okay? The forested section is about 135 acres. And the open section is about 65. So the field and the complex that you see with the gazebo and all the structures and parking and all that is about 65 acres. So there's about 100 acres left that is undisturbed, let's say. So I could incorporate that into another phase 2. I could break that out into 2 pieces to do a phase 3. I suggest that we do it in a second phase that would complete most of the remainder, with the exception of stand 4. If you look at the map down in the bottom right-hand section, you can see there's something called stand 4 that actually is only partially outlined. And I know that's confusing, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I see stand 2, stand 1, stand 3.
Stand 4 sits alone down in the dog leg down in the bottom.
Stand 3.
And that's kind of an
We don't see stand 4.
I'll give it to you. I understand.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Because that says stand 3.
There's stand 4.
Oh,
yeah,
you said
the rock.
bottom.
Yeah, well,
I did, and
it's not, I'm not here.
don't follow my instructions. Anyway, it's
Okay.
single alone. It's
Yep.
it was open probably when the property was purchased, so it's forested in now, and it's kind of thin, and it could stand alone and just stay alone for a while. That could sit untouched for a longer period of time.
That's 4, section 4. Okay.
This one right here.
Yeah, up top.
Yep. So I know another reason why we asked you to be here, John, was because there's a lot of talk afterwards. After we started doing phase 1, people were really upset with the trees being cut down. Now you know as well as I do, when you walk through there, there's a lot of dead trees, and there's a lot of liability just walking through those trails. I've run them. There's trees down all the time. I usually, when I do run them, have to call building maintenance and tell them that there's a log down in the trail. And then you can see throughout, there's just so many dead trees because there's no sun coming down to the ground. So all the saplings are dying and all the big trees are dying. So I guess, I don't know if you can speak to that, just to kind of help the people at home understand why we're doing this.
Sure. No, that's a
As
great.
far as
Thank you.
forest management.
Sure, thank you for that. As anybody who visits the park knows, before I came on the scene, it was very clear that there was a gypsy moth defoliation for probably 3 years running, one after another, and it killed probably 65, maybe 70% of the oak that was there in the park, and it was especially concentrated in that upper portion of the park that we operated in this phase 1. To the point where there were whole sections where all the trees were dead. All the oak trees, anyway, were dead. So it was pretty obvious that there was no other option to deal with it in terms of the liability issues that you mentioned. People recreating there, walking the trails, trees are falling down, and that wasn't going to stop. That was only going to get worse. And the value of whatever was standing was being diminished through decay and insect damage. So we initiated a timber harvest there. The town netted about $60,000 in timber value out of that. That operation finished about March of last year. And as a result, it's walkable. There's no risk for that section of the trail system. You walk it, you see disturbance, clearly. The operation that we initiated was a biomass operation where the trees that were cut down were also whatever wasn't used for a high quality product, a chip was made of it. And so the debris on the ground was kept to a minimum for that way. So I'm proposing that, logging is disturbing.
Yeah.
And you can't put lipstick on a pig. It's not pretty, and it's just in the short term, it's very disturbing to look at. I think that over time, we haven't seen a full year yet of rebirth, if you will. Seedlings are in the forest canopy. There are seeds. The seed bank in the soil is tremendous. The sunlight, once it hits the soil, will generate a new crop of trees. of all varying species, and competition will, over time, we're talking 10, 20 years probably, will shake out and we'll have a new forest there. So anybody who recreates in the park will curse me first and thank me later, because I think as time goes by, you're going to get to see the results of taking away that undead canopy, basically. So the next phase, if you allow me to continue, if you walk the park, you might see there's already some paint out there. Those are trees that I'm proposing that we could harvest again in another phase. They're hemlock predominantly. Hemlock has hemlock woolly adelgid. The woolly adelgid is an aphid that sucks the nutrition out of the needles of hemlock trees, and eventually, if the infestation is bad enough, will kill hemlock. And so, anybody who travels to Connecticut can see whole hillsides of dead hemlock just rotting away. And so the hope was in this plan, this 20-odd page plan that I generated for you folks in 2021, talks about hemlock, talks about gypsy moth, and this is the next disease or insect that I'm hoping to get out a little bit in front of, try to get the value out of the hemlock before it becomes standing dead, just like the oak was, and start to regenerate something in there now. So that's the intent.
Thank you.
Does the, saying mostly hemlock, but does it also affect any coniferous tree that's in there?
Well, the hemlock will be one. We'll cut some pine. There's definitely pine that needs to be cut in there. There's some pine that is way overdue for a harvest. We're going to thin in there. This is more of a thinning, more of a selection harvest.
Okay.
This is not a large-scale, wide, big openings that you see now. This is more selective. Small patches will be opened, acre or less, where it need be. That's not the goal. The goal is to improve what's there and to try to begin the process of regeneration. So in technical terms, it's called a shelterwood harvest. The first phase of shelterwood harvest is to take out the worst trees, take a little value if you can, and create small openings. And disturb the soil so that soil will,
Loosens up.
the seedlings will have a chance to get into the mineral soil and get rooted.
And by taking these older trees, larger trees, you'll open the canopy for sunlight to hit the ground.
Exactly.
Redevelop.
Exactly.
This is what the people in town were wondering about, so I'm glad that you're explaining it. It's appreciated.
It does take time, like you're saying, though. Secondary
take time.
succession doesn't happen overnight. It takes at least
It does.
10 to 20 years.
I just had it kind of looks like devastation when
Right.
you're first doing it.
It's very shocking.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it,
Come on,
especially
just-
what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we did was a removal, basically. It was a sanitation. It was a salvage operation. There wasn't a lot of trees that were alive. Well, I shouldn't say were a lot. It was more than 50% down.
Yeah.
And so you, as you're doing the shelterwood harvest, you would also get rid of the dead trees as well that
Yes.
are like knocked over,
Yes.
chip those, and
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
clean it up a little bit.
Yeah. The idea here is to take out the weak and the dead and the weary. And if you have value that you can take, if you've got a stand of a fully closed canopy of oak trees that are 20 inch in diameter, it doesn't hurt to take one or two of those because you want the sun to get in there.
Yeah.
And if you don't take them, and if you don't create the openings, you don't get the understory development.
And they'll just compete for resources anyways.
Right. Right.
And I don't have the contract, sorry, Kathy isn't here, for phase 2, how much was it estimated to cost, or to
I
the
don't
town
know.
would?
That's a
Okay.
great question. I would be shooting from the hip at this point because
Okay.
I haven't marked everything.
Okay,
Looking at what I have here, I think it would be less than before, but I'd rather under promise and over perform.
And then last time you did it in the winter too. You did it around when it was just starting to thaw, or not even starting to thaw. The ground was frozen, so that we didn't rip up the ground as much.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that was our goal.
That was our, yeah.
That was our goal.
Yeah.
And we waited for that to
Yeah.
happen. And it
In
didn't
mild
happen.
winter.
Yeah.
This is the first winter we've had in about 7 where we've
Yeah.
actually seen ground frozen conditions.
Okay.
And so we waited, and then we waited, and we waited a little more, and then I got to the point where I said, Chris, those trees are not getting any better, you know, and we're getting a lot's falling down that are marked. So the contractor who purchased the wood now is looking at wood that's on the ground where that's not where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So we decided to go ahead and go. And I think it was a good choice because if you look out there, you know, the main skid trail that runs up the hill is just, you know, is rutted, but it's not bad. But I don't think there's any evidence really of mud there, any evidence of really bad ground disturbance.
So I'm trying to picture this. This goes around the pond, right? The Kendall Street's here.
Yep.
This was the Kendall Street side, so we're looking at it like this, right? So this would be the rest of that side,
It would
actually.
really be the rest of the wooded area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You see an email too from David saying he got.
So Dave, I was gonna get into that once we'd made a decision on phase 2, but maybe that will help the board make the decision on phase 2. So I don't have a printout of it because he just sent it,
Yeah,
and then I
he
had, Ira, email it to everyone.
Yeah.
But Dave Desilets did, email me, letting me know, and I just wanna bring up the email. The Woodland and Watershed Regeneration Pilot Program. So they would come in and replant trees.
Well,
And that's through the, and I know a couple of the towns, DCR. So I know a couple of the townspeople were interested in starting a tree planting program, but this would be through DCR.
it's woodland and,
Woodland and Watershed Regeneration Pilot Program.
okay.
And if you want, I can send this to you, if you're
you would, that
interested
would be
in seeing
great.
the
That would be
flyer.
great, so I don't have to try to read my scribbled notes.
Yeah, I have your email right here, so I'll
Perfect.
email it to you.
Well, you know, I'm a trained forest manager. And you know, all of my experience tells me that you don't have to plant anything in New England. You get what you get through manipulating the overstory. Now, having said that, I planted trees myself, so I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. If you want to try a pilot program to plant trees, I think that's fine. There's enough open space there that it would be interesting to see how they responded to the natural landscape around them.
And it's 25 to 30 free trees and shrub seedlings to plant on their properties. And it's for any municipality or landowner with forested land with an active forest management plan or forest stewardship plan.
And you meet all that criteria.
Yeah, and the contact is Mike Downey at
Yep.
DCR.
I know, Mike.
So,
Can't hurt.
yeah, if the board's okay, I'll reach out to them and see
Yeah, I think it's.
what we
yeah.
need to
I think it's a good
do.
thing.
So that would be for phase 1, but I do think that we should move with phase 2. The trees are not getting any better. They're just more and more dying as I walk through there. And I know we're going to get people who are upset about it, but I think, as John said, we need to get ahead of the aphid infestation before it takes all the trees.
Yeah, I do too.
And this is just a way of making it a healthier area for growing for the trees to grow.
You
And
know,
you see-
managed trees tend to be healthier. And maybe it's my bias. I know there's a whole cohort of people that believe we should not touch anything and let nature take its course. And in the whole scheme of things, on a large time scales, that's a fine idea. And I'm not disputing that over large time scales, maybe that's interesting and worthwhile in certain landscapes. But when you have a recreational area where you have people coming and going, while I was marking trees in there, I saw people every day. While we were harvesting trees in there, despite putting up signs, we saw people there every day. Winter, ice, you name it, they're out there. It's a heavily used landscape. So there's a lot of liability with trees that are falling down.
And I'm actually a biology teacher, and we teach about forest management and forest fires.
Wonderful.
And if you leave the trees that are dead there, it increases the carbon sink,
Yep.
gets drier, and more forest fires.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with managing it before it gets to
Wonderful.
that point.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right, so I think John would need a motion to move forward with phase 2. You'll map it out, and then you'll come back to the board and let us know
Yep.
from there.
I will make a motion to continue on phase 2 at Dufresne Park, forestry management, timber harvesting.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have any questions for us, John?
No, I think you
Okay.
see the agreement. I think it's still in force. I don't think we need anything to formalize what our relationship is.
Okay.
I imagine Chris left good notes. I have a copy of the old contract that we
Okay.
used to go through this process.
Right.
If for any reason there isn't, you
Yeah,
can't
I'm
find
sure
it.
Kathy can find it.
I'm sure she can too.
Yeah.
I've got a paper copy just in case.
Do you want these back?
No,
Or-
I kept,
okay.
I gave those for your use.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right. Yes, Ira.
I heard you say something about I was supposed to forward something to the board.
Oh, it was the Woodland seedling program? You did. They got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I saw it in my email this afternoon.
Somebody did. I got it. They got forward to me.
All right, citizen participation. Do you have 2 over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I know the meetings can make it long and the citizens have to wait.
I'm sure who sent that. It wasn't me.
All right, first one, Dennis Wool. Come on up.
Before I get into what I really came for, that gentleman struck a nerve in my brain. When I was fire chief, one of the big issues we had was dredging of fire ponds. And through my networking, I was able to contact the the operating engineers union and went through a whole spiel. They were willing to come in and dredge Dufresne's pond. All it would cost us was to move their equipment and fuel. Unfortunately, the Board of Selectmen denied it because they said there was liability. I got back to the operators, engineers, and they said, we have all our liability insurance policies and everything. There's not an issue. Hence, I moved on, nothing went on. So I know Dufresne's has been a thorn in our side for years. That might be an avenue to get it done for almost nothing.
So what, we've looked into, we did the feasibility study and it's 1.5 million to dredge that pond.
They would do
Yeah.
it, but back then, I'm going back probably 2001, 2002.
I don't know anyone that will do it for free now.
Oh, well, but still,
Yeah.
he said, we are always looking for projects to train our engineers, operate.
What company, Dennis?
It's a union.
Operators union,
Operators Union?
Yeah.
which is probably local, Springfield or.
I was talking to a gentleman in Hadley, but they no longer used, they used to have their equipment out there, and I happened to go by, and it's like,
It's worth investigating.
Yeah, absolutely, because with all
even
the
if it
expenses.
costs us
that's
a
not
little
gonna
bit of
happen
money,
anytime
I mean,
soon.
he said they were always looking for projects. He said, this would be perfect for us. I said,
They got to train on something.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's an avenue you guys can
Thank
look
you.
at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna bring up a couple of things that I know, Glenn, you're not gonna wanna hear. And Dakota is here, so he can either stab me in the back or pat me on the back. We got our tax bill in. My taxes went up $2,300. Okay, let me explain. I built my house myself in started in 79, we moved in 80. It had a second floor, it had a first floor, it had a wing where my bathroom is, and it had a 2-car garage. I have altered the roof. I used to have a gambrel style, and I removed the gambrel and went with a conventional. Did not change the square footage at all. Okay. When I saw, well, actually, my wife saw it. She had a heart attack. I had to revive her, and she said, "What's going on?" So I went up to the assessor's office, who she looked at the card.
So
and
people
she,
know your wife actually didn't have a heart attack.
No, she did not. No, she
No,
did not.
I see her at school.
Yeah, you see her at school. So, but anyway, so I went up to the assessor's office, and the lady there was very professional and explained. It took her a while to actually figure out, well, this doesn't make sense. Why did it go up so much? And then she found out that they have not been taxing us since day one on my second floor. I have a house that's 2,000 square feet, right around there. My concern is, other than paying $2,300 increase all at once, how many other people have gone through this? They have had many re-inspections at my house. Took out a permit to redesign the roof, took out a permit to do the front porch over, different permits. That should have triggered something where when they take the card and look, they should see what has been done or what has been missed. The last that I know, and they take pictures, my card still shows, no, I'm sorry, still says gambrel style roof. And it's not. Trust me, I know I did it. My concern is, again, I really think that, is there a way that we could have all the boards audited on a regular basis, like every 3 to 5 years? Because if they did it to me, there's a possibility some other properties are not being taxed correct. And that's our revenue. That's what, 85, 90, 95% of our revenue is through taxation. So I wanted to bring that up. I feel all boards should be audited at some point on a regular basis. I'm gonna bring up a sore thumb. It happened to the fire department to the tune of $250,000. Okay, right after I left. And I'm not gonna say any more, okay? So this is something I think it keeps everybody aboard, honest, and everyone knows what's going on in town. So when somebody says, why did my taxes go up? You'll have a good answer for them. They have been good. We had a meeting with the actual assessors board. We went through that, and actually they're gonna come back and re-inspect an area that I'm being taxed wrong, according to their description, but that's okay. But I think that's important. I think all boards should be audited on a regular basis, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, whatever. I don't think any boards have been audited.
What do you mean audited? What do you mean a board be audited?
Well, there should be standards, and somebody should be able to look at those standards and make sure they're met. So there's got to be some association out there that will do audits of this sort. Anyone that takes in money, they should definitely be audited. Make sure the receipts are right and all of that.
Well, we get audited every year, but it's for the treasurer, the town accountant, for all of our accounts.
All our accounts,
So they
any
look,
money coming in and it's audited, yeah.
Okay.
I think what Dennis is looking more at is the process, making sure that
Yeah.
everyone's doing what they need to in their board or their committee.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's someone out there that does that. Really, wouldn't that fall underneath the town administrator to make sure that everybody's doing their job in town.
Well, the town administrator doesn't have a say over elected officials.
Right.
So,
But someone's got to be, I see what Dennis is saying. Someone's got to, like, how do we know the elected officials are doing what they need to do? Or, and I know not every house can be assessed, right, Dakota, in a year, right? So you do a certain percentage each year.
A lot of errors townwide.
Okay.
yeah,
And then you, as you see them, you fix them.
Yeah.
But,
Without a doubt.
yeah,
It's just, you know, to his benefit, he went all these years without getting taxed
yeah,
to whoever was sitting in my predecessor
right,
and the other two, but now he's in shock. As
yeah,
everyone.
right. And
Yeah.
there's really no way around it, like you're saying, because until you know that the error is there, you don't know to fix the error. And your house probably hasn't been reassessed. I don't even know what the
It
cycle
was
is.
done this year.
Well, yes, but before that,
It was done, it's on the card. And
Okay.
there's been probably 3 official audits by the assessors. But to me, when a building permit is taken out, that should give them the opportunity to readdress the card and make sure the card says what the building is.
without it being online, I don't think it would trigger anything for the assessor's office though, because that goes to the building commissioner.
Can I address,
Yeah, absolutely.
when you get it, do you get notified when somebody does building permit?
Yeah.
Once it's closed out.
Okay,
So
okay.
we get the finished product if the building commissioner sends it over.
okay,
We're trying to integrate our system so we get them faster.
right.
Unfortunately, this town's done a lot of stuff on paper for years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we've lost a lot of documentations townwide.
right,
Yeah.
right.
It's
And I hope you understand, I'm
Oh, no,
not
that's
bad
not-
mouthing
I
you guys,
totally
because I understand it's not an easy
I
process.
see a lot and I say, wow, how is this never caught?
I'm just
There are a
hoping,
lot of
to-
departments in town like that.
yeah, and that's what I'm
I don't know
concerned
if it's
with.
just us or it's other municipalities in the Commonwealth that see the same thing, but
there's errors made.
Yeah,
I'm sure
we're
it
human
happens
and
everywhere.
I understand. It's just, that's our only revenue sharing. And to lose all that revenue for, what, 44 years? That's a lot of money. And I,
You could pay back the past 2
no, that's okay, I'll pass. I'll tell you what, you talk to my wife and if she says yes, we'll write a check. Okay. The other thing I want to bring up is I've been trying to catch your meetings online and the West Street committee meetings. Unfortunately, the way the world is today in the United States, we were allocated, I'm not sure, 1.6, $1.9 million through ARCA.
ARPA,
ARPA?
ARPA.
Okay, I thought it was ARCA, but, okay, you know the funds I'm talking about.
Yep.
American, what was ARPA? American,
I thought it was American Recovery.
yeah, recovery.
Yeah, it was during COVID time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then- yeah.
Okay, so my concern is, here we are getting ready to spend, what was it, $15 million roughly? If we don't have those funds, because everything is frozen, there's gonna be 1.6, 1.9 tacked on to what we're gonna go to the town for. And I haven't heard anyone addressing that.
What do you mean?
The,
Well, we don't have the funds, correct?
no, we have
If-
the, we have the
We have
ARPA
the-
funds.
Are
They're
they
already-
in our account?
Yeah, they're already earmarked for the West Street building
Yeah.
project.
Okay, they might be earmarked because they had to assign a project, but I was under the,
Im-
yeah, I was under the point of, we didn't get the money yet.
No, we didn't.
It's
No, we-
still with the federal
I
government.
don't think we, trying to think back when, and now I wish Chris was here.
Yeah.
Not that I don't, but.
No, we had to use it by a certain date.
Right, it didn't.
Yeah, but we had to earmark it,
You had,
but we didn't get the funds.
we had to accept it at one
We
point.
accepted
It's,
it. We have the
There's
funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
all
have
right.
the funds.
And then I apologize
There
for
was a
that.
time frame where we had to accept it by, or we,
And it had to be earmarked for a project.
Right.
And has to be spent by,
2026.
yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay.
So
yeah.
it's already, it's part,
American Rescue Plan Act.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's what I was, And it was 1.9 million, and it's part of the 5.6 or 5.7
Yeah.
that we already allocated.
Right, okay. That's all I was concerned, that the funds weren't, it's still with the federal government, and with everything going on, we don't know if we get the money back.
That's a good
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
especially after I see their presentation, I mean, I love the project, but we got, oh, which brings me up, they should look at doing a, information session.
Yeah.
Set up a time, people can come in, quiz them, and see what the project is, because if you take this to taxpayers all at once without an open meeting,
Which they did do the first time that we put it on for last year's.
yes.
It did go, they
Yeah,
did all
they
that.
had
Yeah, but the
information
project has
session.
changed, and the dollars
And
have
that's kind of
changed
the original
tremendously.
funding for it, but like you said, it's gonna evolve, yes.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a great
agree.
idea.
I'm
Ira.
sorry, I'm over my 5 minutes.
No, that's okay. Three.
Just in partial answer to the question about what services are available for audits.
Yeah.
of
Thank you.
government.
Yes,
Division of Local Services,
DLS.
and I don't know if Granby's done this, many municipalities have, but they'll come in and do a review of all of the various financial departments and make recommendations, suggestions about what places to improve. What you're doing well, what you could think about improving. But DLS, that's an ongoing program, it's been going for many years.
What do they look at?
Review.
They'll look at all aspects of finances, so it would include assessors, treasurer.
Right, but they're not gonna know if the house isn't being assessed at the right value. They're not
No,
gonna know that.
I don't know that, they're
Yeah.
not gonna get into that amount of detail, but, the opportunity is there, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, they welcome the opportunity to come in and, they'll just take a look at whatever it is basically you're asking them to look at.
Okay. I think I do remember seeing a very old document, I think it was either 2015 or 2016, when I first joined the select board, in which they had DLS come in and they looked at not only the financial part of it, but they also looked at how the different departments were working. And that's when they had recommended the town clerk and the town treasurer merge into one position, but it got shot down at town meeting.
Right. Okay.
So I do remember they did that,
Sounds like there was some
but
sort
that
of-
was a while ago,
Yep.
at least 10 years.
Almost, yeah.
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 Or annual audit, they also.
They do all that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm annual service.
They do,
Yeah.
they'll commit
If we're gonna go
Three-
free through
every 3
WLS,
years.
there's something to look into.
Yeah.
Well, we have our annual audit. They do make sure our money is appropriated the way it's supposed to be, so.
All right. And George Randall.
Hello, George.
You
Hi,
folks
George.
tonight.
Good, how are you?
Thank you.
I'm feeling better finally.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be seen. I have three things. First off, and most important, is a welcome to Ira. Hope you know what you're getting into here.
Getting an idea.
Yeah, it's just beginning, sir,
You know where he is, he's close to the door.
but really welcome.
Thank you.
Second of all, my compliments on moving forward with phase 2 of the trees at the park. I wish it had been followed immediately after the first one, but here we are finally moving forward. I think you've done the right thing. Why I'm here tonight is several years ago when Kellogg Hall was decommissioned and turned over to GPS, a cable came to the Historical Association, which we believe was used in the Selectboard office. It's looks like an oversized kitchen table, 3 foot wide, 6.5 feet long. And we would like to deaccession that and send it back to Kellogg Hall. We think it came through the permission of the Board of Selectmen at the time. Our archivist is looking for paperwork, which I don't think we're going to be able to find due to changes long ago and things getting thrown away. So basically what I'm here for tonight is to ask the board's permission for us to return the table to Kellogg Hall.
To the Preservation Society instead of the Historical
That's
Society?
correct. It would still be in the town and still be used for a, historical purpose, if you will.
Do they want it?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry, I should have said that. We
I
asked,
just don't want to like say, yes, take
Yeah,
it, and then they don't
um,
want it.
we asked, if they would like it, before I came
Okay.
here. So, I'd like to ask you folks to think on it and just let me know either way at some point in time.
Well, if the Historical Society doesn't want it and the Preservation Society does want it, it seems like a no-brainer.
Seems pretty logical.
Correct, but, we need your
Permission.
blessing on that motion.
Sure.
Sure.
I will make a motion that the table, where is it currently, George?
It's in the kitchen at the, H. White Quirkhouse.
The table in the courthouse be returned to Kellogg Hall
Correct.
Okay.
and the Preservation Society.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
George.
Thank you.
We're not responsible for delivery now, are we? Because we voted to do that.
That was phase two of my request. I shall return.
So phase 2 is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. All right, Ira, do you have anything for us?
Let's see. You know, there's a couple things that are still on the agenda.
Yeah, I can go through that, but I just didn't know if you had anything that was pressing.
I mentioned the reserve fund transfer request from facilities.
Okay.
It's for repairs that are needed to a vehicle. Comes to $4,296.34. He doesn't have it in the budget. I'm told it's handled in a couple of different ways. It could be just acted upon by you and then would additionally have to be acted upon by the finance committee.
And we're just moving
Taken
money.
out of the reserve fund.
Okay.
You do have now a special town meeting coming up, so if you wanted to hold off and put that as an article separately, I haven't been-
They already fixed the vehicle though, right? Or they're
Well, it's in the
asking?
process. I mean,
Okay.
they either fix it or it's not available to be used, and
Okay,
according to Jeremy, he needs it.
okay.
So,
And this is for snow removal, right? I think so.
uh,
I think it's one of the
It's
trucks.
2019 Ford F-350.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it has a plow on it. Could.
Yeah,
But it's, remove and replace front brake pads, rotors, front, rear, shocks, U-joints, other hardware.
so, and the reason why it's coming in front of this, so the select board can decide to take it out of reserve and we don't need,
So
Town approval?
You and the finance committee together, you both sign it.
Okay.
I think that, I'm not 100% sure, but my guess is that in the past, Chris probably signed these. There's a line for elected official, board town administrator,
okay,
and then there's a line for chair of the finance committee. So the finance committee has to, they're gonna put it on an agenda, they can't vote on it until obviously they meet.
okay,
And my guess is that maybe the town administrator in the past just took care of this on his own, which is fine. I've been here, this is my third day, so I
yeah.
didn't want to,
Yeah,
you know, I just figured I'd let you know you have a meeting, so.
Yep, thank you.
it's fine. I'm trying to remember, the last time was a while ago, something like that happened. And there's money set aside for that.
Yeah, there's 130,000 in your reserve account, which is.
Oh, okay.
It's for
very, very large
unexpected,
for a town of this size.
unexpected, yeah.
However, since you apparently haven't used there's a law that's been in place for many years that in the last 60 days of a fiscal year, the select board and finance committee jointly can make decisions to transfer between accounts.
Yeah,
You know, you haven't done that process, it makes more sense that your reserve fund would be larger.
Okay,
You know, when you're preparing budgets a year and a half in advance of all the money being spent, things change.
yeah,
So, anyway, that's really the only thing that's not already on the agenda.
okay.
other than to tell you, I'm happy to be here, it's exciting. It's nice that I live 2 miles away. If I can find 10 minutes to get out, maybe I'll go home for lunch, but.
We're glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So,
Do you want a motion for that? We would just need to know what the amount was so that we can make that motion.
yeah, so it's for repairs of a 2019 Ford F-350 Super Duty truck, replace front and rear brakes, rear shocks and front U-joints. The amount to be transferred is $4,296.34.
And that's from the reserve fund.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion that we move $4,296.34 from reserve fund to pay for repairs on a 2019 Ford F-350.
Do we actually, how would we actually, the finance committee does that?
Well, we have to do it for either the TA or the select board.
Right, but we're approving it to send it, we're not.
We're approving it, yeah, and then the
Right.
finance committee will do it too.
Separately approved.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll second the motion. Can't remember the way we did it last time, in a few years.
I was gonna say we haven't done it since I've been on, so I'm not
It was a
sure.
while ago, we were doing it once, maybe twice. but
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for Ira to sign it on our behalf, I should have said that, I'm sorry.
And for Ira to sign on our behalf from the select board, yes.
Well, we can sign it as the town administrator anyways.
Right,
So,
thank you. All right, next is to accept departmental reports.
I will make a motion to accept departmental reports.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
And Ira, I don't know if you're gonna know the answer to this question, so I'll reach out to Jeremy for it, but for the Granby Safety Complex, it said that there was a health advisory posted. Do you know what that was for? Okay. So I'll reach out to Jeremy for that. Did you hear anything about it? Okay. All right.
Health advisory?
Yes. I don't know if there's something with the water. Because
I
we
didn't
just
hear-
cleared the COA, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
didn't
months.
hear anything about the water.
Yeah, it was in Jeremy's report, so I'll just reach out to him with more questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is to approve and sign maintenance warrants.
I will make a motion, the town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 49S dated 2/7/25 with a total disbursement for warrant 49S of $128,110.05.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
So I will be abstaining from my reimbursement for curriculum that I bought through the school for $101.22. Other than that, I will rule on the other ones. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you.
I will make a motion, the town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 49 dated 2/7/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 49 of $914,572.89.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. It's getting cold up here.
Really? For the first time, I'm not cold in this room. That's true, she does have the key.
I will make a motion for payroll account summary, Town of Granby warrant number 50, dated 2/11/2025. With a total expenditure of $464,267.16.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
So I will be abstaining from the teacher salaries and the select board salaries. All in favor?
Aye. Always, Dave and I will go out of necessity for the select board. Sorry, not as always, but.
Yes. I hear you.
As it stands.
I know. I gotta say it every time, but.
You need 2 paper clips or?
Nope, just one.
Insurance. I will make a motion, the Town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 51 dated 2/14/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 51, $126,698.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you.
I will make a motion, the Town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 52 dated 2/21/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 52 of $71,039.70.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I will make a motion, the Town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 52S dated 2/21/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 52S of $162,668.40.
Second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next is to approve and sign the 2025 Class 2 license. So that should be not in appointments. New business, right there.
I will make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, make, for used car dealer license, Class 2, to buy and sell secondhand motor vehicles in accordance with provisions of Chapter 140 General Laws with amendments thereto for Jason W. Aller, doing business as Rajakaru Imports, is hereby licensed to buy and sell secondhand motor vehicles at 185 West State Street, Granby, Mass. Described as follows: leased office space at 185 West State Street, Granby, Mass. This office will be used to post vehicles for sale on the internet and in publication. There is a limit of 10 cars for sale on the identified portion of the property where cars can be displayed at 185 West State Street at one time. Any signage for the business is only permitted on the existing marquee sign, and there shall be no service of vehicles on property. Dated February 24th, 2025, license number 2-0005. License will expire on January 1st, 2026.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I will make a motion on behalf of the Granby Police Department requesting that an HP P3015 printer be deemed surplus equipment and be disposed of. The printer is no longer functional as it is outdated and unable to get updates for the drivers and will no longer communicate with the network.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so next is to discuss the building commissioner position. So did the board have a chance to review all of your notes from the 4 that we interviewed for building commissioner?
I'd like a little more time, if that's
Okay.
possible. I just want to follow up on a couple things.
Okay.
That's fine.
Looking,
And there was another one, just so you guys know, I don't know if you saw that, there was another one that came in on Friday.
I did see that, so are we,
Another applicant.
Yeah, for
Commissioner?
building commissioner.
is it
Um,
closed?
Was it?
There was a
I don't,
close date, right, on that?
I thought there was.
I don't know if we had a close date on it.
Guess-
Did we?
I thought we did. Well, let's find out if it's not, and that's fine, and,
Let me see if it's here. I don't think I have it here for the.
one of the postings that actual end date.
Yeah, I don't have the posting here in my paperwork.
If we didn't have an end date, I don't have an issue with interviewing another person,
Okay.
but I guess it wasn't until it might have said until we filled the position though too.
I want to say that's what it did say, but I'm not positive, so I don't want to say it as fact, but I think
Yeah.
it said until filled.
So I guess we can,
No, that's possible, I guess.
I think she did post it until filled.
Until filled.
Yeah.
You know where it was posted? Is there any place online I can look?
I know it's on our website. She posted it on our website and she posted it in the newspaper, so Good thinking, Ira.
Get this, move this one before I get this mixed up.
We can do that after. We'll do the discussion of the. We'll wait for Ira. Hopefully, he can find it fast.
So I guess if there was no limit on the posting, we have another candidate.
You could.
possibly?
We could.
We could if we
um,
wish to.
if we wish to.
We did do it in the process of.
We-
Deliberating on the 4 that we did interview.
Yeah, so.
Ira, while you're looking, if you don't mind, we'll go on to the Council on Aging approval of COA agreement. Unless you can, I don't know. It's not very easy to navigate sometimes. The building commissioner ad that we put out, did we post it with a specific deadline for the date, or did we post it until filled, is what we're looking at? Kathy would know, but she's on vacation. Well-deserved vacation.
Employment opportunities? I don't think it says that.
Okay, it just says that we're looking for a building commissioner. Okay.
Until filled, sorry, this position was open until filled.
No, two days.
Richard, me.
So, I know Glenn wants some more time to look over the applicants and to check a couple of things out. Are you in the
I'm
same
okay
boat?
with that.
Okay,
So we can,
so we'll put it on the March 10th agenda
yep.
Sure.
because Thursday's just for the gravel pit hearing.
Is, you could amend the agenda for Thursday, you have time if you wanted to do that.
No.
The gravel pit's gonna take up a large portion of the time and we're paying special town council to come all the way down here.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think
we don't know how fast or how slow that hearing's gonna go. But looking at just the past hearings, it's been a full night.
Understood. I will, I don't know if you have this information about interim building commissioners and Damian.
No, no.
So he told me, his suggestion is, let's see. That he said Jason Ford, who is in South Hadley,
Yeah.
also does a bunch of other, the hill towns where he started, is available the week of the 10th to the 14th to fill in here.
Okay.
And that Kevin Ross, who's the building commissioner in Northampton, will be available beginning on the 19th. So-
And that would be on an interim basis, right? So they would do, in addition to their, because you said he's Northampton right now?
Yeah, and he's the one, he and Tom Quinlan are the two I actually
Yeah.
was involved with when you guys were, when your longtime building commissioner retired.
Greg
I was
Briggs, yeah.
involved in South Hadley, and anyway,
Yeah,
that's how Tom and Kevin has done some work here. That's how they ended up here
okay.
a year or two ago.
So if we can't fill it, we do have a
A couple options.
couple options for interim.
So, yeah.
But with that said, you do raise a good point because the building commissioner is done on March 7th.
Correct.
So we do, if, I know Kathy can't, you guys had moved the meeting, right, from the 3rd to the 10th? Because
Yes.
Kathy wasn't gonna be able to be here.
Right.
Do you want to at least have a meeting where we deliberate about the building commissioner next week? So we can get someone in here before the building commissioner currently that we have now
Well,
leaves?
most of them had jobs already, so.
That's true, so we'd still be waiting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
And they,
If you're looking for a recommendation,
Yeah.
I suggest that you go with Damien's
suggestions.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay,
I haven't worked very much, but I know both of those guys, and they are building commissioners,
Yeah.
not just inspectors, and
okay.
they're available to fill in, so you need somebody.
And you said Kevin Ross the 19th, and then just He didn't give a like a ending date?
He would be available beginning the 19th.
Okay.
Basically, as needed until further notice.
Okay. And as far as what that looks like, you'll reach out to them and see how many hours that would mean a day, what time they would be present here, because that was something that Glenn and I, and you were here for no, were you here for Damien's hire?
No, that was
Okay,
before I
but
was.
that was one of our concerns, is making sure there was a certain amount of hours on site so that people can come and file their applications with the building commissioner.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you in both cases,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be a lot of on-site hours. I can't imagine.
I think, I want to say Kevin Ross gave like 2 hours a day or something like that. It was minimal,
And we
but
may not need a lot right now, it's not,
yeah, that's true. It's cold.
it's cold and, but I would imagine within the next month from now or so, we might see a steady tick up as building starts,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, according to his report, it looks like he's just doing inspections
Yeah.
right now. There's no new
Yeah.
permits being pulled at this time.
So,
So would you, Ira, be able to reach out to both of them and see what they can give us for on-site and then what other services they'd be giving us for interim?
And do you want me to just, work with you on that, to communicate with you on the? that
That's,
information?
who's the building commissioner, liaison?
That's me.
That would be Dave.
That's me.
I was like, I don't think that's me anymore.
So you can just send me an email of when they're available, and
Yeah.
if we need them, we know they're there.
Okay.
Well, I think we have to have a contract with them, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
we will, and we will need them. I mean,
Yes.
There's no doubt about it, so.
And if we can get at least an hour to 2 hours on site, we gotta
Yeah,
have something.
Yeah, or they can work by appointment. If
Oh,
they
that's
wanna
true.
Come down and meet people, that's
Yep.
fine too.
So your next meeting is on the 10th, which
Yeah.
would be the first day that business day that Damien's not here,
Right.
so.
Okay.
I think they were here for two nights, 2 hours, but
Yeah.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
But like I said, even if they can't commit to certain days or nights, at least if they can commit to, people can reach out to them, he's willing to be here, meet on certain times for people, but as long as he's available to meet with people, is what we
Yep.
need, if need be.
All right, in discussion of the TA position, I did watch you guys' meeting from Thursday with Tammy Martin. And I did actually call her today and followed up with her and just asked her a couple questions of my own as well. And I feel very pleased with her interview. When I called her to follow up, my main concern was that she would be traveling 50 minutes to an hour. And really, I just reached out to her to ask why Granby. And I know on the interview tape, or on the interview that you guys had with her, she had said she likes small towns. And I was able to get more clarification on what that means. She just feels like she loves to drive out this way. And she feels like her vision of a small town is more aligned with our vision of a small town. So I felt the conversation that we had was very truthful and transparent, and I feel that she would do a good job in Granby if given the opportunity. So I will listen or hear you guys out and see what you guys think as well.
Want to go, David?
Sure. I was also pleased with the interview. She does have a lot of background of things that we're looking for, obviously, and town administration. She's currently doing it in Barry. She was a clerk. She was a branch administrator for a bank, so she has a lot of background in finances. A little bit of realty, so it gives us a little bit more on that end of things. I did think that she was very straightforward, very honest, and wants to involve the people of town and inform them to the best of her ability. So I was pleased with the interview.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with both of you. I think, it was a pleasure really talking to her about it. That's the sense I got. And I was kind of put myself in a spot where if it was someone from the outside that wanted to talk to the town administrator, she was very pleasant to talk to. Very open about talking about things and stuff like that. I liked her experience, his experience as a town administrator, town assistant, part as well. Her HR, the experience she has working in the banking industry as well. No, I was very, very pleased with it. Like I said, her knowledge, her experience, were, something I look at in that position, and I think she has both of those right there. And I just said, like, her, just her demeanor and talking to her and stuff like that. I think she would be a good fit just for people to come in and talk to that. Talking to her, I think she'd take it out as going out around people to meet people in town and stuff like that. I think she was excited if she could be part of Granby, getting to know that. I mean, she said she'd love to finish her career here if she had the opportunity.
She did say that, yes.
So, again,
She also has certifications in procurement, supervision, and accounting.
Yeah.
So it's an added bonus.
like I said, experience-wise, to me, she checked all the boxes. The knowledge was there as well. She didn't shy away from any questions that we asked, I thought.
And she did answer them very clearly, to the point. So,
the only downside with her was 90 days.
Yeah.
The
they
90
did say
days,
90
right.
days.
So we do offer the position. It's, she has a current contract, which I get that, and she honors that. Wouldn't expect anything less.
which is commendable.
But she did say with that if need be, I think her day off is Friday, so she'd be willing to assist on a Friday if need be.
Right.
Maybe, if we do offer that position, it might be something to look at too.
So from talking to her on the phone, I also got the impression that she can be strict when she needs to be, or she can put her foot down, so to speak, when she needs to be, but she's also very collaborative.
Yeah.
And she works with her colleagues, and she tries to understand their perspective on what's happening in a situation. And I did like from her interview too, that when she has two employees that are not working together correctly or not making it work, she puts them in a room and they hash it out and they figure out how to solve it. Because you can't just sweep it under the rug and expect it to go away. So I did like her management or her HR skills as well, and the way that she had answered that question. So,
She did mention that to us.
Yeah.
also.
She's surprised, yeah.
well, yeah, I was referring to the
Oh,
video,
I'm sorry.
but I did like the way,
It's your conversation.
no, and then she also said, I know Glenn, you had mentioned that, the internet is what a lot of people use. How would she deal with that when, people are saying negative things? And I know she had said, don't take it personal, but I do believe that you're right, don't take it personal, but also be reflective on what's being said. So I think that's also something that is very important because we're not perfect, so I think maybe what they're saying or the way they're saying is not accurate or correct, but also be reflective in what they're saying, because maybe they're just trying to, get a point across and they're not getting it away or getting it across in the right way. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
So I would like to make a motion to offer Tammy Martin the town administrator position.
And to
We should make a
enter,
motion.
and to enter,
I will make a motion. And to enter into contract
negotiation.
negotiations.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
We ask Ira to contact her, send her an email now.
yeah, and let her know that we're offering her the position and we would like to enter into negotiations with her. Actually, Ira, what I can do, because I don't know if you have that email, is I can send you the original contract that we drafted and you can send that to her as our first step in negotiation of the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
So, did you want to in terms of salary or any of that?
No, that's all gonna be in the contract that we send her.
I think first just reach out to her and let her know that we're offering her the position.
Yeah.
And further information would come. I think.
Yeah,
It's
we can
what-
do that.
Want to make sure that.
She knows.
She knows, that's all. So if we could do that this evening, it would be great.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the contract that you're gonna give to me,
I'll just send it to you tomorrow and I'll call you.
so this
Yeah.
is the one that you offered to the previous candidate, or?
It's a standard contract that we had started off from Chris Martin. And we just built from there
Yeah.
on what we were willing to start with our offer for any candidate that came in. So it's not just from the previous candidate, it's for any candidate that came in to this position. It's our starting point. So I'll send it to you because Kathy's on vacation this week.
Yep.
And then you can send it to her and then she'll go through it and she'll counter it. And then we'll, at our next meeting, I don't know, do we want to wait till March 10th? Because she, like you said, is on a timetable of 90 days.
No, I think if she's open to, still to the position, which
Yeah.
I imagine she would be, I think we can look at scheduling something.
Next week.
I would
Sooner.
move forward with that, 'cause that's just
Yeah.
a time clock.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So, when Ira emails her the contract, when she sends it back to you, Ira, then we can go from there on what dates work next week.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
Do you wanna wait, is this week out?
With the gravel pit hearing on Thursday, that would put us at Friday and, yeah, so this week would be out. We would have to meet next week, either Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah,
Does either one work? Does either one work for you?
I can,
Cause it would just be executive session
either
for
Monday or
contract
Tuesday will work.
negotiation.
Wednesday won't work, but Monday or Tuesday will.
Okay. Well, I had Monday already scheduled, guys, so Monday might be it.
All right. So if that works for Tammy, then we can look at that on
Yeah.
Monday.
I'm sorry. Monday.
Well, so to clarify, would this just be executive session where we're negotiating the contract?
We're gonna discuss the contract, yes, it's just the executive session.
Okay. Perfect.
With her potentially, or just?
No, it doesn't fall underneath executive session to have her here. We negotiate as the board. And then you bring it back to her. Because we talked to council about that and she can't be present for executive session.
So March 3rd
Yes.
at 5:30?
5:30 work for you or?
We'll do five.
Five.
Five, so we can,
March 3rd at 5 o'clock.
unless you can't make it at five and,
No, I should be okay.
no, not you, her.
Doesn't care about you, no. I can make it at 5.
Can't start without her. No, just kidding. She won't be here anyways, but no, all. No,
I'm
so
gonna
just need
send
that.
her an email right now. I don't have the town's email on my laptop.
Okay,
Also, I'm gonna send it from my personal email if that's okay,
okay,
but I'll do it right.
That's fine.
that's
Yep.
fine. All right, so next is for our COA to approval of the COA agreement policy. So this is for the tablet loan program user agreement. And this is to provide iPads to seniors as an important tool for social connection, education, and virtual medical visits. This program is funded by Title III grant funding through the Older Americans Act and West Mass Elder Care. So this would be a contract or a user agreement that they would sign. And it goes through the uses. So I think this is a great opportunity for the seniors.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree.
Is it only a 3-month loan? And then they return them?
So I think it's a 3-month loan. They return it so another senior can have an opportunity with
Okay.
it. But I can clarify that with the Council on Aging Director, because if there's nobody that wants it, I don't see why they couldn't just take it out again.
Right, right, makes sense.
But only one iPad per household. So the only thing I was thinking about as I was reading this is there an insurance policy that they could, like the schools, for example, they give every student a laptop, but there's an insurance policy that the parents can pay for. So if anything happens to the computer, the kids break the computer, the insurance covers the
Replace it.
computer. It replaces it so that it's not such a big expense. So they pay the $30 for the insurance for it instead of the $250 for the laptop or for the iPad or however much it is now. So that would be my only concern, is because we don't want to give this technology to a senior. They drop it and now they owe $250. Like, so I would like some kind or some form of protection for them. And I don't even know if it's something that we can have here. I don't know.
I mean, we'd have to reach out to
A vendor.
a vendor to see. I mean, I don't know who the school uses.
I bought it and I couldn't tell you.
I mean,
It's in one of my emails.
that's probably what it is. I mean, it's almost like when you buy something at a store and they offer you the extended warranty or whatever.
Well, I didn't buy it last year
Insurance.
and I owed $250 for my son dropping the computer.
So I think
So I bought it this year.
But no, I think that's a good idea there. I really do. And not just that, it allows us to replace the iPads as well. So,
Yes, yeah.
So
I agree.
maybe reach out
Great idea
to
to give
some
the
of the
seniors the
schools. see.
Yeah, I'll ask what they use.
Yeah.
Tammy Justin will know from guidance, so I'll ask her. And I'll email the vendor's name to Natalie so she can reach out to them and see what she can get in place for the seniors. All right, so. You guys agree with the policy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I will make a motion for the Council on Aging, Town of Granby, for the tablet loan program user agreement.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then if you guys look on the back, there was a Council on Aging Transportation Program policy. And I guess I just have questions because I don't know what the previous policy was to compare it to. So this is going to charge transportation to our seniors, and I don't know if we currently charge them.
I'm unaware.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I didn't know there was a charge when they brought them places.
I didn't think there
I
was.
thought that was part of what the COA did, but I could be wrong.
That's what I understood, but.
So would you guys want Natalie to come in and talk about this on March 10th before we approve it? So we can have the before and, or at least get the before,
Yeah,
right?
get there was one before. What was it? So we can kind of compare it, go from there.
So we'll table the transportation policy, IRA, for March 10th meeting before we approve that policy for the COA. And I'll reach out to Natalie and see if she can give us the before document on what the transportation policy was. So that can be put on the agenda for next time. All right, and then do you guys want to go back? I know Bill Shaheen was not able to be here, but I know we do have to look at the disclosure of interest that he filed. So this was in the appointments, if you want to take a look at that, and I have my own copy. All right, so Bill Shaheen is a member of the Conservation Commission, and his duties require him to participate in the particular matter described below, and at this time, he is disclosing a financial interest with the applicant. I request a determination from my appointing authority about how I should proceed. So the particular matter, it is anticipated a wetlands permit application per Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, will be filed by Red Fire Farm. So his required participation is as Conservation Commission. He would be the permit application review. He would review the application, and conditioning. He is an officer, director, trustee, partner, or employee of a business organization, and the business organization has a financial interest in the matter. The fee historically paid to Analytical Engineering Incorporated by Red Fire Farm every 5 years as required by the 780 CMR Chapter 10 for performing structural egress inspections. And he needs us as the appointing official as required by General Law C-268A, Section 19, that we reviewed the particular matter and the financial interests identified above by the municipal employee, and we have determined that the financial interest is not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect the integrity of the services which the municipality may expect from the employee. So Ira and I, before the meeting, reached out to town council to discuss this disclosure, to see how to get his recommendation. And Ira, he told us to look up this 268, section 19, and you have it in front of you, right? Are you able to read that to the board so they understand?
Sure. So section 19, letter A, except as permitted by paragraph B, the municipal employee who participates as such an employee in a particular matter in which to his knowledge, he, his immediate family, or partner, a business organization in which he is serving as officer, director, trustee, partner, or employee, or any person or organization with whom he's negotiating, or has any arrangement concerning prospective employment, has a financial interest, shall be punished by a fine of not more than $10,000, or by imprisonment in the state prison for not more than 5 years, or in a jail or house of correction for not more than 2.5 years, or both. Section B, it shall not be a violation of this section if the municipal employee first advises the official responsible for appointment to his position of the nature and circumstances of the particular matter, and makes full disclosure of such financial interest, and receives in advance a written determination made by that official that the interest is not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect the integrity of the services which the municipality may expect from the employee, or if in the case of an elected municipal official making demand bank deposits of municipal funds, said official first files with the clerk of the city or town a statement making full disclosure of such financial interest, or if the particular matter involves a determination of general policy and the interest of the municipal employee or members of his immediate family is shared with a substantial segment of the population of the municipality.
Good.
So our question was, what is Bill's role as in the Analytical Engineering Incorporation? So we looked it up, and he is the sole beneficiary of that company. So he's the CEO, he's the treasurer, he's everything for that company. And so every 5 years they pay him for their 780 CMR Chapter 10 for him to do the filing of that paperwork. I was hoping Bill was going to be here to explain a little bit more. So in the paperwork that we got from Kathy, they're looking to be doing a septic system. So we all know that Red Fire Farm had a fire and they had burned down. So they now have to rebuild. So he's also on the Board of Health, which he isn't coming as that. He's coming as the Conservation Commission right now. So town council, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ira, did not feel that this was a substantial, what's the wording that they use here? That this was not a substantial amount of money that would fall underneath this, where he would not be able to do his duties as the Conservation Commission for the wetland application.
He said he didn't believe it would have any effect on his ability.
Thank you.
Mr. Shaheen was really just acting out of an abundance of caution.
Mm-hmm. And he actually spoke to Bill about this himself, just to kind of get clarification. And so the other piece of that too is Brian O'Toole also just got off the phone with the state on this, and they had no concerns either. So the Department of Agriculture was also notified of it, and they had no concerns, and our town council has no concerns. So Yeah. We do have to talk about this too. I don't see it on here though. Right, so I have no problem, as the appointing authority, letting Bill still be on the Conservation Commission for the wetlands application. If Special Town Council and Department of Agriculture doesn't have any concerns, I don't have any concerns. And he's, again, just disclosing it here so that, he's being extra precautioned.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, I would agree. I mean,
I don't see a problem with it,
we don't see a concern with it. Our town council doesn't see a concern with it, so.
Okay.
or the state.
So do I need a motion in order for me to sign it? Oh, yes, Dennis, sorry.
Dennis Hall, I was chairman of the conservation quite a few years ago. We had a very, very similar thing, went through the same process. The only thing, I contacted the state ethics board, and they said, make sure that he is not running the meeting, that he is a vendor like anyone else would come into the room and do a presentation to the board. So his vice chair would have to run the meeting and obviously not have a vote.
Yeah, he's not part of the meeting, yeah.
I don't think he is a chair. Is he the chair of the
It
Conservation
doesn't
Commission?
matter
He
if
is.
he's a member.
He can't
Okay.
participate in the meeting. He's not part of, he's not there as a member of the committee. He's there, he's the mayor as someone else.
As a consultant for his firm. Yeah.
You have two entities. that
Yeah.
have one.
Yep.
So then, would I put that restriction on here? And I don't know, because it just says name of appointing authority, title, agency, department, address, phone, email. I can put it under comments, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if laws have changed.
Yeah, I mean, we could just have, again,
Makes
reach out to town
That's the
council.
best way to just.
Just keep it separated, yeah. Yep. Right, so, does one of you, or do one of you want to make a motion for me to sign this after talking to town council if he says it's okay? And I can put in the comments, because I can reach out to Ryan and do that with him.
Yeah.
But I can put in the comments based on what special town, or based on what town council wants us to do. So that he doesn't, if that's what he recommends, he doesn't chair the meeting and he's just there as another, I don't know if vendor's the right word, but as another participant or,
Well, if he's, yeah, okay.
An engineer
For
presenting a
business.
project to the board.
Beneficiary of his business.
okay,
He's not there acting as his capacity as a board member.
okay.
So I will make a motion then to accept the disclosure form for non-elected municipal employee, William Shaheen, Conservation Commission, in regards to Red Fire Farm, septic
Wetlands
system
application.
application,
Wetlands application.
wetland application, I'm sorry, for the septic system, and allow Crystal to sign for the board
After talking to,
after talking to council.
There be this one for Board of Health too?
So,
I'm wondering the same thing and I'm gonna talk to the
We should
the
ask.
town council about that.
What was the question?
If there should be a disclosure for the Board of Health too, because Bill's also on the Board of Health and that's an elected position, so that would be a different form.
right.
Because this is the non-elected,
That's
so I'll talk to Brian about that one as well.
do
But
that.
I don't know if he's designing the septic system as the
Right, so
analytical
right.
engineer.
Right, so that he'll worry about that.
Yeah.
But I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then, so actually, as we're talking now, I don't see it on this one printed out, but it was on the online one for the Red Fire Farm. For the first step in order for them to start their septic work. Remember the MDAR? It was on the online one, but I don't see it on this agenda.
All right, number 6.
Am I like looking? Oh, my goodness, yeah, I'm looking right past it.
Yeah, 'cause I was looking in your packet when you were talking about it.
Well, we skipped around a couple times, so that makes sense
I'm
now.
gonna put it back in the wrong order, sorry.
All right, so the first step for Red Fire Farm to get their septic and to rebuild their area is for us to do the MDAR, which is the co-holder approval form for department approvals. So they need us to give them approval. Am I saying this wrong, Ira? For the MDAR?
No.
MDAR,
MDAR?
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
So one of the requirements for the well is that it has 150 undisturbed, no roadways, parking, fertilizers, or pesticides radius around the well. So this one is for the well and then the septic.
Now, why is that coming in front of us?
So the way it was explained to me was because it's a, what did Brian say? For actually, he didn't talk about this one, did he? He just talked about the disclosure
Other
one.
than, well, other than just, he thought it was gonna be on the next agenda, and then discovered that,
Kathy had put it on this
on
one.
this agenda.
So they're running into complications with where to put the septic because of the stringent regulations about the designs that the town of Granby has. Much of the space on the 2-acre exclusion falls into a 100 buffer zone from the edge of the wetlands, so the space cannot be used for the septic infrastructure. Other parts of the 2-acre exclusion are needed for the store customer and delivery truck driveway and parking areas for the new building itself. The only solution for moving forward, the construction process, is to locate the farm, store septic system in leach field onto this sliver of APR land. That's why it's coming to us.
Oh, okay.
That is north of the farm store building, in the space between the building and the Carver Street Road. This space is planned as outdoor display space for the farm store, where items such as plants and pumpkins are displayed, and outdoor display flower gardens are on display. We'll be able to build a septic underneath this space so that it's attractive and not noticeable and blends into the landscaping and grade of the new building. So they were told by DEP that we need to build a well for the new building that is certified as a public water supply. One of the requirements for the well is that it has 150 undisturbed radius around the well. To accommodate this and avoid interfering with the customer parking areas near the new building, we're looking to place the well as indicated on the map. You can say I don't see the well on here.
Probably a concept page somewhere. It's a diagram of the property.
Yeah. So this again is on the APR land in an area that is a swale and swamp zone where brush and trees are growing. The recharge zone radius will be on the swampy part of the APR property where no farming activity would happen anyway. We want the APR committee to be aware of our plans in regard to the septic system and public water supply well, and hopefully issue formal approval for the septic and also for the well if needed. We need this paperwork as soon as possible in order to move forward with the town and state regulatory agencies on getting all additional regulatory approvals for the construction plans. So by signing this, what Brian was saying, Ira, was that this only gets the process started. They still have to go through the Conservation Commission and they still have to go through the Board of Health. So we're just saying that we're aware of it, that they're going to be on the APR land. And they also filled out their improvement and or excavation, sorry. So they filled out that paperwork as well through the MDAR APR program.
It's pretty much duplicate of what you just read on the front page.
Yeah.
An explanation of it.
Yeah, they just start the process, so.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the same map as you, like, there is, the well is identified, the approximate location.
Did you find it?
There's a,
Well, that's the wetlands.
this top right.
The parking lots. Right?
Yeah. Coop.
Coop.
I can see that.
So the approximate well,
Wetlands. Do you have a coop on your map? Up in the right-hand corner?
I know, that's all we see on the right-hand corner.
Yeah.
yeah,
And the wetland
I'm looking
approximation.
at the same document.
It's a wetlands.
Is it this?
We don't even have a circle on ours. Maybe
All
it's
right,
on a
hold
different
on,
one.
that's in this package. Is that this?
Yes, there's that one.
Oh,
Yeah, so we didn't have it in ours.
Oh.
It
Okay.
was in here. Business.
So there it
At
is.
least we're not going crazy.
No,
No.
We
because I'm
didn't know
looking
if
at
the
this
top
one
right
too.
was
and
the
I thought-
top left, like in the last one.
That's when I started looking at the other one. It's gotta be here somewhere.
Now we know.
Yep, now we know. All right, so who? So for the co-holder approval form for departmental approvals, that's the one that we would have to sign?
Yes.
All right, so the APR landowner. All right, so I can fill this out.
The town is the co-holder, right, with,
If it's an APR land, we are, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Yeah.
so we have to
Explain
just,
the form, why we gotta,
right. So we have to decide, do we want to approve the request, approve with conditions or deny? So again,
well, if we
The
don't
way-
approve it, they can't move forward. It
right,
sounds
and
like
that's,
it's-
so again, that's what town council said, is that this is just the first step. It's not that they still have to go through the conservation, they still have to go through the board of health, so they still have to go through all of those. So I don't see really why we would approve it with conditions, because they still have to follow the other.
Yeah, they
Right,
still have to
yeah.
go through the other steps. I agree.
All right, so if you guys are okay with that, I just need a motion for me to sign it on behalf of the select board.
I will make a motion for Crystal to sign on behalf of the select board, the co-holder approval form with the Department of Agricultural Resources for Red Fire Farm.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving along. Did I miss any, Glenn?
That's
I had
everything.
so many checks everywhere. And I don't know if we should really leave I want to leave Dufresne Pond dredging on here just so that we keep on the lookout for grants, but we already said that the freshwater dredging, they didn't do the pilot program this year. So we can I'll have Kathy take off January on there. And Ira, do you know where we are with meetings for budget? Was that discussed? Yeah, I know it's your only your third day. I
So,
apologize.
I met today with,
Finance committee, right? John LeBear.
Don O'Bear.
LeBear.
We kind of mapped out a schedule. So I'm gonna go, tomorrow I'll see what, if anything is missing from
Okay.
departmental requests. The deadline was last Friday.
Okay.
So I've got a folder of stuff. I think they're mostly there, but there's probably a committee or two that needs to come in, and I'll plug some numbers in, just the numbers that are being requested into the spreadsheet, see where that comes to. A meeting this week with the school superintendent, the police chief, and DPW director at a minimum.
Okay.
And maybe some others. I requested John's a little more probably active participation early on, because I don't have any of the institutional knowledge
Okay.
that, I know, obviously Chris had more than 20 years here, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So, you know, far be it from me to say, no, you know, it's some department, you don't need this or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So, but what the time frame is, for us to have an initial budget within 2 weeks, no later than March 10th, just internally, and to then discuss that with a small committee, not a public meeting, but just still internally. So, you know, I don't know, maybe a representative from the select board, if
Okay.
if somebody wants to be involved in that, John from finance, reach out to the school committee for a rep, and then to have, you know, the school superintendent and business manager involved in that, to just have an internal meeting to talk about whatever that number comes up to, which it was likely gonna be more than what's available.
Last year, yeah.
And to work that down so that starting in the week of March 17th through April 11th, the finance committee can hold their public meetings and review all of the requests, bring in, you know, however they want to do their process. But at that point, so basically around the 17th of March, the first public draft budget would be available. And then with the goal of by April 21st to have the budget ready for distribution to the public, which is about 3 weeks or so prior to town meeting. And I understand that you probably aren't gonna act on the actual budget until June, but you tell me if, you know, if I'm getting any of this wrong, but my understanding is that the town meeting starts the second Monday of May, and then it's just continued to June. It's not a special meeting or a second.
And it just continues 2 parts.
Right. So,
It's continued.
so if I have understood it all correctly, that means that the
Yeah.
budget has to be available for the the May meeting. I
Yeah.
probably said March, May, for the May meeting, even though it's not actually gonna be voted on until June.
Because it's continued from that first, it's one meeting, that meeting just continued to the next date.
Yeah.
It's not 2 separate meetings.
But we do vote on some of the budget on May 10th, right? Don't we? I'm pretty sure.
It's
we
a
do.
small part of it, 'cause that's always been my thing.
It's like the cemetery, right? The cemetery offers
It's-
payments.
John seemed to think that capital items were typically voted on in May. Does that sound right? I'll go back and look at.
Yeah, a majority of the budget for departments is voted on in the second half.
Operating
So,
budget.
yeah. So
So
you might
in
think
any
if you have
event,
a
that's
different
sort of
board
what
member
we
voting on
sketched out
budgets,
today.
then
Okay.
who's here talking
For
about
a time frame.
So what we've done in the past, the 2 years that we had, is whatever departments that we were in charge of came in and they walked us through if there was any substantial increase in the budget. Like if a line item, I think last year it was recommended 3.5% increase for the budget.
I think that's what I recall, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
So
what-
I don't know what is being recommended this year. Was it 3?
So the short cover letter that Chris sent out
Yeah.
last month was, he asked for 3%.
3%.
Okay.
Suggestions. No, I'm assuming when all is said and done, it's not 3% across the board.
Well, and it depends on different things like the town treasurer and the accountant need software.
Yeah.
So that's going to be more than a 3% increase. So, but that's what I mean, like when there's something that is needed that doesn't fall under capital
Yeah.
and is more than 3%, they would come in front of us and they would explain their needs to us.
So that does qualify as capital.
Okay.
Those software purchases, they're over, I mean, the state recently changed their guidance to say the threshold is 25,000
Yeah.
as opposed to 10,000 for a capital item and at least a 5-year
Contract. Okay.
lifespan. So you know, that it definitely falls under capital if you want to do it that way.
Okay.
But
All right. So, but what I was hearing you say, Ira, and the reason why I was asking that is that you meet with them and you go over it in a smaller group,
yeah,
as opposed to them coming to a select board meeting, and then you just bring it to the board after that for our review, or how does?
I'm happy to do whatever you guys want. I don't know your practice,
We
so.
usually have the department head come in front of us and explain the budget.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah. That's what we do.
And is
That's
that
us-
done in advance of the finance committee reviewing it, or at the same time, or how does that work?
I think it's done in advance because then the finance committee reviewed all of it afterwards.
All of it after, yeah.
So we would have at a select board meeting, say the building commissioner was doing his budget, he would come at 6, then the next one at 6:30, then the next, whatever the appointments were, they would come in, and it's just the ones that we're in charge of. So we never met with the school because we're not in charge of the school.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
But I mean, so with that said, the liaison for the school meets with the school and the town
And
administrator.
we've done that in the past where
Yeah.
the town administrator and liaison met with their
School committee.
school committee and with this superintendent, talk about their budgets and kind of work on something prior to, so they had understanding where the amounts were and stuff like that, so.
And the finance committee chair.
So that all comports pretty much with what John and I talked about.
Okay.
The only difference in all of this really is just that I'm suggesting, I'm here for a short time, right? And I live 2 miles away, but, I haven't been involved at all in what you're doing, and
Yeah.
I don't wanna, it wouldn't be
Recreate
right
it.
for me to be making decisions unilaterally on your behalf and then, 2 months down the road or 10 months down the road, you guys say, what the heck was he thinking about? So it would be good.
Someone go get Ira, it's only 2 miles away.
You know where you live.
Yeah, well, sure do. I just think it would be appropriate for this one year,
Well, like I said,
in this interim, to have a couple of other eyes and ears on this.
yeah, so I guess in the past, it's been, well, like that, where the police department. So the chief would sit down with the town administrator, Chris, at the time. They look at everything. Christie, anything really out of whack? No, but if not, he explained, if something was above and beyond what they needed, he'd explain at that point. Then the chief would come in front of the board and present the budget. And the same thing, we'd ask questions if something seemed, out of range or something like that. And Chris is looking at it at that point saying, yes, the town can support this.
And so those meetings with the chief, with DPW, with
Yeah.
buildings, facilities, and all of that, those are, I'm gonna be doing that, starting this.
Yes,
Okay.
it's, yeah.
I guess the only, so it's, the time, we're starting later than probably normal, right? A little bit?
Well, I don't know, I mean, we're usually into it
John
late
said he
February,
thinks so, but,
late February, early March, we're rolling into it. I mean, it takes time. We're not that far behind, I don't think.
okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say the discussion usually starts end of January, right? And then Chris has his deadline,
Yeah.
which you said the deadline was just Friday.
So,
So a little late.
A little
but
late,
not-
we're not that far
yeah.
behind though.
Okay.
So.
Well, so
And all the departments have been working on their budgets anyway, so it's not like it's a surprise to them.
you said, just would like to, and I can do this, maybe I can do this, Crystal, with you, just to make sure I know I haven't left anything out about which budgets are under, specifically under your
Yeah, we
jurisdiction
can do that.
that you want to see come forward. So should we have those discussed at the March 10th meeting?
Do you just need a list of the departments? I mean, I can send that to you in an email because you're gonna be meeting with them up until that point.
Yeah.
I mean, we can actually list them now if you want the list now.
Let's not take.
Okay,
time.
okay.
It's late enough.
Okay.
By the way, just with regard to March 10th, I currently have a conflict that night. So I'll,
For March 3rd?
March
10th.
The March 10th
Okay.
meeting.
Yep.
I'll figure out what I can do on that.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
And I think Kathy will be back. She'll be back then.
She will be, that's why she's scheduled for the 10th.
Okay.
She'll be back.
Yeah,
All
so,
right.
Yeah.
Maybe she can stand in your replace for that meeting.
that's potentially the case.
Okay. All right, so anything for next time, guys? I mean, we already have on the agenda, we're gonna discuss the building commissioner.
Yep.
We are going to, Steve Nally wants to come on March 10th as well. And I think that was it, right, so far?
So far.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so we will now enter executive session 30A-21-A-3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. And we will only come out of executive session to adjourn the original meeting. Roll call vote, Dufresne, aye.
Labonte, aye.
Sexton, aye.
Thank you.